The red light is on, so you know what that means. As I say every goddamn week, good brothers, we are back, and we have to discuss SummerSlam and the fallout that has come from it. But tonight isn't an ordinary night. Tonight, it's going to be a party. That's right. It is another special edition of the Wrestling Wrealm Now Podcast body. And we have a very special guest, Brandon. We have guests today, and you're trolling me by putting in my tag team title that you have hijacked and you won't give it back to me. We don't have time to get into that because you know what? You're not going to kill my vibes, Brandon, because you hijacked my title. Because tonight, we are going to boogie. We got a very special guest joining us. No, I'm not going to get distracted by that. I'm not going to get distracted by it. I'm just going to go right to the intro because guess what? I'm ready to boogie. You ready to boogie? Let's get this party started.
Drums, please. This is how we do it. It's a party, it's a party, it's a party.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!
Wait for it. Welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm Now Podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, you can watch all of our Wrestling Wrealm content anytime on youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm. I am your host, yours truly, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen, gone back into his movie phone voice as Brandon Guy continues to troll me while I do the intro. He is your host, Brian H. Waters, Hollywood Brian H. in the building. All you fans can stick it, brother.
I'm so funny.
I'm going to introduce Brandon last because he keeps trying to troll me. We are here once again. The smoothest man in the building has the third brother, Hugh, H to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the D, and the Belt King himself, who keeps holding up my hijacked title. He has stolen my title. Somebody put APB out, call the police or something. Brandon, the guy, the Belt King, the king of championship culture, in the building tonight. Follow us on all social media platforms, including Instagram, Threads, Twitter, and Facebook at Wrestling Wrealm. Like, subscribe, and engage in a conversation with us. And you can stream all of our audio content on Anchor, Stitcher, Podbean, Pocket Cast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. You can watch and subscribe to our Twitch channel at The Wrestling Wrealm. You know why I mentioned all those places where the podcast can be found, so people know how legit we are. That's exactly why I do that in intro every week. But listen, not only do I want you to listen to our podcast and all of our audio content and all our digital content every week, I want you to support the brand. And guess what? You can do that by heading over to, boom, WrestlingWrealm.com. That's right. Shop now at WrestlingWrealm.com for all Wrestling Wrealm merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more. If you want to display being a proud wrestling fan, guess what? You can pick up that t-shirt now, available at WrestlingWrealm.com, along with many other classic t-shirts, including this one right here, bam, the Jack Daddy Brian H. Waters t-shirt. Go along with Brian H. on his fitness journey. That's right. We celebrate the Jack Daddy and many more. Look at this. Look at this. This is all. Look at this. All this new merchandise. Look at that. You feel nostalgic? You feel like Monday Night Raw? Guess what? We do too. WrestlingWrealm.com. You can find all of our merchandise and much more. But guess what? Not only do we have merchandise, we have a Patreon channel. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Patreon.com/wrestling_rum for all exclusive shows and bonus material. There's quite a few things we can't say on the air. There's quite a few stories that we have told that we definitely can't say on the air. Brian H. writes, Brian H's thoughts. There's so much more coming to our Patreon channel. And guess what? You can subscribe to our Patreon channel for just as low as $1. So for all exclusive shows and bonus materials, head over to patreon.com/wrestling_realm. Do not forget the underscore because I promise you, you won't find it. And last but not least, if you are looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use promo code Wrestling Wrealm to save $20 on any one-time purchase of $50 or more. So that's right, ladies and gentlemen. I know I said this last week and the week before that, but guess what? As summer winds down, there are a few more events still to come. And guess what? If you want to save at least $20 off your purchase and you've never used this promo code before, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use Wrestling Realm. That's right. We have our own promo code to help save you guys a couple of dollars. Head over to SeatGeek.com using promo code Wrestling Realm to get yourself $20 off this purchase. That's if you've never done it before, because a lot of people try to go back and double back, and it didn't work, but that's okay. SeatGeek.com. I keep saying SeatGeek.com because they're a sponsor. You got to make sure the bills are paid. SeatGeek.com. Promo code Wrestling Realm. Now, usually this is the part of the show why I advertise championship culture, but it sounds to me that Brandon has been doing a whole lot of advertising on his own. But the Belt King himself apparently has a show. It's the newest show, the newest brand to the Wrestling Wrealm network of shows, Championship Culture, featuring Brandon the Guy. He is the Belt King. He is our resident belt expert. He was collecting belts before collecting belts was cool. See, that's something like that belongs on a t-shirt. If you head over to youtube.com/Wrestling Wrealm, we have a special playlist for Championship Culture where you can catch and follow up with everything that he has done so far, including the show he just did yesterday. Brother Brandon, this is your time to shine, brother. Tell us about what was special about this week's episode of Championship Culture, besides the fact that you hijacked my belt on the show and then you took my tag team championship to pull up on somebody else at a pop-up so they can enjoy themselves. But in all fairness, you did a wonderful thing. I thought that was really creative. I thought it was really fun. But tell the people about the latest episode of Championship Culture.
So I encourage you, after you finish watching the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, go over to YouTube. We can find all our content. But yesterday was very special because I was able to do a pop-up on a fan. And it's crazy because the fan thanked me for it. And his name is Mike. And when I tell you, you might want to go over and see his story, see what story he now has attached to the belts and which belts he actually has attached to a story now. That's all I'm going to say. It was really a good time. One, meeting him. Two, being able to get him to see some of the belts, hold some of the belts, even take some pictures with him. Don't worry, I'm going to post some more pictures probably at a later date of him holding, such belt. But it was a good time, and I'm glad that I was able to do that, and it just shows that, people are watching us, so keep on watching. You never know where we're going to pop up next. But speaking of pop-up, a cheap plug, there's a brother on here that went on other people's shows before he even got on his own show. But next week, we definitely going to have... Oh, wait a minute. He getting ready. He getting in character. We're going to have the executive producer for Championship Culture actually make an appearance on Championship Culture next week. And I am so excited because he's going to kick off our month-long series of special guests. And the first one has to be the executive producer. So stay tuned on Tuesday at 8 p.m. on YouTube and Switch we'll be streaming on. And you'll see us debate something I think is a long time coming because I want to see if he's going to mention more than one wrestler.
Can we advertise the show now? Can we put it out there, Brother
Absolutely.
Hugh?
I think that's why he put his shades on. I was waiting for him to pick up where I left off.
Absolutely.
All right, there it is.
No, I'm gonna let you rock with it, but go ahead. We can do it.
Look at that.
Okay.
Who would better?
Yes, and you notice it's the Big Eagle this time. So
Wow.
we did a show Who Wore It Better with the White Strap Intercontinental. And from some reactions, some comments, it was suggested that we do Who Wore It Better, but this time with the Big Eagle. So I hope and pray that my executive producer comes with more than one name with this belt because I think he only knows one wrestler that wore this belt, even though it has a long history.
Wow.
And it went through a whole era of what we call wrestling. He only knows one person that I think only held it for 24 hours, but tune in on Tuesday. So you can see.
We all know
Was
that.
it a full 24?
I think it was 24 hours, wasn't it?
You
I
done?
think it was more like 22,
finished?
23.
You finished?
Wow.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You want to talk there?
Are y'all done? You want me to come back
Okay.
or?
Let me talk to
No,
you.
I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to talk. I just want to move on. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Definitely. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. I told you. See, this is what I'm saying. We have guests, and we never behave when we have guests. I told you, our moms would be ashamed of us. But we got to get to our very special guest. Is because this is going to be another situation. It's been a long time coming. If we have the SummerSlam fallout, and like I said, for you guys who are not familiar, if you can't see the background right now, in case you haven't noticed, we're in Club Intellect because
It's a party, it's a party, it's a party. It's a party, it's a party, it's a
that is right. Is another edition of the Wrestling Wrealm Now Podcast party. We have a very special guest. We have a lot of people watching already, which that's how you know we have a special guest this early, because usually people wait for us to get started around like 11:30. Everybody starts piling in. But, this is the time where we got to start setting the mood, because I'm ready to boogie. When we bring in guests, the whole point of this Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast party is for people to come on this show and have fun with us, right? But in order to have fun, man, listen, when you go to a party, man, you got to set the atmosphere right. And when I put the shades on that transform, the realness takes a step aside, and DJ Weezy Wee gets on the ones and twos as we start queuing up the music and prepare to introduce our very, 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 very special guests for tonight to join us as we break down this SummerSlam pay-per-view that pretty much this. I'm not gonna get into it. We got a lot to talk about. Brothers, are you ready?
Yeah,
Are y'all ready to boogie?
We ready. Let's go.
We ready. We all flashing. You see how lights is going off.
DJ Weezy Wee, drop that beat. Let's get it.
I ain't flash. Too cool to flash.
There it is. All right, hold on. I gotta turn my music up. Can y'all hear me? Yes, sir.
Hurry up.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another special edition of the Wrestling Wrealm Now Podcast party. I am your host, DJ Weezy Wee, aka The Realness. The brothers are in the building. We got a very special guest in the building. And let me tell you about her real quick. As we break down her bio, she became a wrestling fan in middle school, crediting the appearances of Lita and Jacqueline to be the reasons that she watched SmackDown on Thursday nights. She has appeared on Those Wrestling Girls as a guest sporadically before formally being invited to join the TWG fan club with Queen PR in December of 2022, which is an interactive show that connects with fans regarding wrestling history and hot topics, and amongst many other things. She has made past appearances on Diva Talk, The Hardy Wrestling Show, All Elite with Keeks, Breaking Through Glass Ceilings with our very own Brian H. Waters, the Jobbatiz Network, and the Victorious Podcast. She even started the Well Minority in 2002, which is a health initiative created to connect people of the Black and Brown community with the mental wellness and resources. Look at that. She has over 1,000 followers on TikTok, 800 plus followers and views on Instagram, all within 1 year. She also has a YouTube channel. And the beat drop. She is nicknamed as Cat Suits, the honorary wrestling girl. But ladies and gentlemen, we just going to call her Seindole as we invite her to the show. There it is. Hey, Seindole, welcome to the show. Welcome to the party. Now we jam. Let's boogie. Hey. Welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm Now Podcast body. Ladies and gentlemen, give a nice standing ovation and a round of applause for Seindole, as she has joined us for the first time on the Wrestling Wrealm Now Podcast party. Yes, sir.
I love this. See, I came with lights. Like, I didn't want to just do flash and black and white, so I was like, let's get the light show going. It's just a little background right here.
That was perfect.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy your intro?
I did. I loved it. You did it better than any ring announcer could have possibly ever did that. I love that. That's like me stepping into the VIP of my own party. It's owed to my party days. I loved it. I loved every ounce of it.
That is a
every
compliment,
ounce of it.
because I know you have seen a lot of wrestling. I know you've been to a lot of wrestling live, so I appreciate that. And yes, this is about you. This is your VIP moment, stepping into your party. So once again, I want to say welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm Now Podcast party. We thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Seindole, what has she not done? We're talking about a social media influencer, a beauty guru, a fashion icon in the making, and not to mention, she is a wrestler on all things pro wrestling. She is a huge supporter of diversity, equity, and inclusion in this sport. She has done so much. She has been so many places, and she is just getting started And today's show is just one more stop on her crazy, and magnificent journey. She's done so much already, and she's going to do so much more. So today we have invited her on our show so she can sit with the good brothers. We're going to get to know her a little bit better, so you can get to know her a little bit better, and then we're going to break down SummerSlam just like family should. That sound like a plan?
I love it all. It
That
sounds
sounds
like a
like a
great
plan. Let's get it.
plan.
All right, let's do it. Seindole, tell the world exactly who you are. First of all, let me just say this, and I keep saying, I don't mean to keep cutting you off. I looked at your bio, and I've been following you for a while. I remember when I first met you formerly at Black Wrestle Fest, and you were just very active. You were working hard. You were trying to get the tables and stuff set up, and I was like, "Who?" I said, "I don't think I've met her before." And Brandon's like, "Oh, that's Seindole. She was with the those wrestling girls and with Queen PR and Krista B, and she was working and stuff like that." And I just remember hearing everybody say all these great things about you. Like I saw so many people just coming up to you and walking with, and I'm like, I'm not familiar with her. But then when I became familiar with your work, I was like, goodness gracious, how does she sit still? You have done so much in this space in such a short amount of time. How do you have time to even, first of all, be on our show and then do all the amazing things you've done so far?
Well, I'm in a different place than I was when you first met me, versus last year. And the one thing that I told myself, which my full mission statement is, and I write it on my vision board, is don't be a do nothing biatch. And so when I wrote that down,
straightforward, I like it.
Yeah, I started thinking of what that term really is, and it's just that somebody who does nothing. And I don't want to do that. I want to do everything I could possibly do. I was raised by two wonderful people that told me how if I wanted to jump off a cliff into blue water, I should do it. So find a way to do it. So when I came up with the Well Minority, which I'm thank you for bringing that up. The initiative means the world to me. And then from that to Patricia saying, "Hey, I'm gonna do this thing where I want to talk to the fans. I really want you to join me." And everything else that just kind of fell in my lap after was on the cuffs of me, like, you know what, I could do this, so I'm just gonna do it. And the response from everybody has been the most surprising thing out of all that, because I have not had anybody tell me slow down yet. So as long as there's no one telling me that, I'm just gonna keep going. So that's how I have time to do all that. I was somebody who didn't have enough time, and now I have all the time in the world. So I'm just gonna keep going.
Listen, that is nothing short of amazing. Just that whole outlook on your approach about how you do everything it's not easy to do. And I say that specifically to you is because I remember watching your appearance on Breaking Glass Ceilings with Brian H. And I know that was one of the things that you really felt and put emphasis on. And one of the things that we've always taken pride on as far as the wrestling realm is being around people who are authentic. That's where the term superior wrestling intellect comes from. It's really just about people who are authentic in regard to understanding, first of all, being honest with yourself, being honest with your approach, and also being honest with understanding how you can grow and get better. So like I said, everything you said is amazing. We've given you such an intro, and we've only been able to put it into so many words. But this is the time for you to introduce yourself to the rest of our world. Like I said, people, we're outside the space. So many people know who you are and what you've done. But for those that may not know, just tell them, just tell the world exactly who Seindole is in regards to this space right here.
All right, so I'm gonna dip and dive into my TWG outro, if you guys don't mind.
By all means.
I am your honorary wrestling girl, Seindole B. I'm a very proud wrestling fan. I've been a wrestling fan ever since I was in middle school. Like I said, I saw a leader walking down the ramp with two guys and do a moonsault on a guy, and I fell in love with the sport. I've been watching. I took a break for a little bit after the Attitude Era and I guess they call it the PG era had rolled around, but then acts like CM Punk and all these other acts started drilling me back into it. So since then, I haven't stopped watching. I even took a break, and I was one of the first kids to kind of have Ring of Honor introduce them to the world of indies, because I did used to attend Ring of Honor shows when they would come into when they would come to the Tri-City Philly area. Love you, Andre. So I've been a support of the indie scene before people really even cared about the indie scene. I was one of those who was protective of it, because a lot of the, when Tyler Black was there, I was there. When CM Punk was there, I was there. And when Samoa Joe was ruling the ring, I was there. It's kind of an interesting thing for me. Most, girls were partying, and I was sneaking out of my parents' house to take a 10 o'clock train and make sure I was back on that train by 12, because we would go and watch wrestling. So that's kind of a little bit of my background. And it's funny that you talk about fan club, because me and Patricia have been friends for almost a decade, and she's known me in my party days and in my bar days and just graduating college. And fast forward, she's starting the those Wrestling Girls podcast, and she's invited me to my first ever WrestleMania viewing party, which is with the Jobbers Tier podcast. Shout out to them if you're familiar with their viewing parties here in the New York area. She invited me, and me and her look at each other, and I'm like, I had no idea you were a wrestling fan. And she's like, I am. I've been a wrestling fan since then. And it's funny, our 10-year friendship kind of engrossed itself after our love of wrestling, that she was just like, hey, you have the voice, you have the power, like, just join me, just do these guest appearances. Krista will love you. And the relationship just blossomed from there. I am very much into makeup, very much into fashion, to the point where I am the proud owner of now 20 wrestling shirts, and I like to accessorize them all. It's helped me kind of grow my social media. Also, I do like to take pictures of them. And I'm just me. This is the first time I'm probably 34, and I'm probably living in myself. That's all.
That's what's up.
I'm living in my truth.
No, listen to me. I think let's give her a round of applause for that one. We just have to find the button real fast. Now, listen, there it is. We're gonna give her a round of applause for that. Like I said, we support authenticity around here, so that's amazing. We're just gonna like I said, we're gonna do a round of robin. Just the brothers got some questions to ask, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that would love to hear more about who you are, and we're just gonna ask you a few questions to help us all get familiar with each other. I don't think you've ever met Brandon the guy personally. Have you ever met Brandon the guy?
I have not met you personally, and I'm glad that I have, because I've heard some things.
Listen,
You may have a love-hate relationship by the time this episode's over, but it's all love. Brian knows me. I lash at the sun when it's too bright. So don't take no offense to anything that I say, even if it's about the guy that he also can't stand. But we gonna get into that.
I knew something was up as soon as he started flashing them pearly whites. Sorry, when the women come on the show, he's got to be the most flirtatious one out of everybody. Sorry, I'm just saying it. Sorry, brother. I don't mean to put you out there. It's just he's the first one. He is the charming one. Like as soon as you said Brandon the guy, he started leaning to the side and leaning. Okay, anyways,
but the table is gone, so I have nothing to rest on. I can move freely. I moved the table. I said I'm gonna be in the open space tonight.
Well, listen, I'm glad we're all in open space. So, brothers, who wants to go first? To asking some more questions about who she is and what she does, and maybe something that the wrestling community doesn't know about her.
Well, since y'all all quiet, you gonna go first? Go ahead, Jack Daddy.
The Jack Daddy.
Here we go. Seindole, so you talk about being an unapologetic wrestler fan. When was that moment in your life you think came, like when you said, all right, you know what? Now is the time where, it's okay. Like it's fully accepted, because you mentioned some like times where it wasn't necessarily cool. Like you brought up watching Tyler Black and so, around that time, everybody wasn't like you had to, like, I remember Brother Brandon would have like the magazines and he would talk about it. And I'm like, what's this Ring of Honor stuff? So, talk about the time when you when it kind of hit you like, you know what? I'm gonna be a wrestler fan. I don't give a darn who care about it.
It had to be, the one time. It had to be the time that I went to WrestleMania in New York by myself the first time. I went.
Oh wow!
I went alone. And no one knows this. I know Patricia had went, but she went with a friend, and I know a couple of other people that may have gone, but I literally took my first Home Depot paycheck was maybe $800, and the ticket I bought was $200, and I had to pay a car note, and I was like, you know what, I can take the car note being late 5 days, and let me just buy this ticket, because it's probably never gonna happen. WrestleMania is not gonna come back to New York in the cold. They would do it again 2 years, which makes me mad to this day. But nevertheless, they came here, and just like being around that environment of people that were like genuinely excited. It wasn't like a situation where everybody thought they were better than everybody. These were just genuine people coming to see something that was genuinely fun. I talk about being a huge CM Punk fan. I like the Thursday of went to a meet and greet, and he was the sweetest guy to me ever. He was
What you
sweet.
say?
He was the sweetest guy to me ever during the meet
Wow.
and greet. But
Talking
then
about?
again, CM Punk. Then again, I was like a senior in high school, so it might be that he didn't want to be a douchebag to a little
CM
girl. Like he didn't want to be a douchebag, and I told him my birthday. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
I want to find out why he was leaving, but it could be that I was like a senior in high
Let
school.
me know
And I
when
told my
she's
birthday.
done talking about Punk.
It was funny. I told him my birthday was in 2 weeks, and he was like, "Oh, happy birthday!" He was like, "Well, I hope you get a cupcake or something." He was nice to me. So, I mean, not everybody had the same good experience. I'm sorry if you didn't.
But you put him
I've
behind
heard
the
the
TV,
airport
though.
stories. Yeah, but because he's on sabbatical.
He's
I
on
explained
punishment.
this to you. No, he's on sabbatical. Anyway, back to my story. It was the first time I got to be around a lot of people, and then I even ran into two of my friends that were like, "Oh, I went to meet him. He's so cool." And then another person went to meet Randy Orton, and they said he was a bomb. And I didn't realize I was surrounded by so many other people that loved it. And then I went to the Raw after, which was like a pandemonium. That I went to with my best friend Adrian. And me and him, like by the time it was, and we went back to class, we had no voice, we had no energy. Like I think I went home from school early the next day. Like it was way too much fun. Like Fandango was like being sung from the arena to the train station. You had like Dolph Ziggler had cashed in Money in the Bank, and you couldn't hear like somebody scream unless it was for him. You couldn't hear nothing. Like it was just that awe of like being around people that get it. And then that's when I slowly started. I'm like, you know what? It's okay to be in love with this thing because everybody has their vices. This is my vice. Like, I get excited about things that happen in storylines. I get excited about developments. I get excited about like, I got excited about like, is AJ really gonna screw over John Cena? Like, I got excited about things like that. Like, I got excited about storylines, new characters, and I was like, you know what? This is it. Like, maybe I'm meant to be in this space and enjoy this for a very, very long time. And Lord behold, like I'm enjoying it up until today.
I brought CM Punk, by the way. He's right here. I don't know if you noticed. You said
I
he
did
was
see him.
sabbatical. So
I also saw like Brandon like make a screw face left and right. So I get
he did.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. It's okay though. But since you made that face, brother Brandon, why don't you ask your question next? What do you got for Seindole?
Am I really going to ask a belt question? Is that what you're about to say? Of course I'm going to ask a belt question.
I mean, that's stereotypical, but...
Well, first, just so the fans can understand, can you tell me about your love for this belt right here? Because I see that you posted the version 1 of it, but I have version 2. What's the special thing about this? Wait a minute, let me make sure the camera can see it. This one right here.
That's terrible.
Not the one
you see what he does?
Not the superior tag. This one below.
This is what I'm talking about. He does not behave.
Oh my god.
No one.
Okay. Yeah, to that one.
So okay, the history between that belt and I is that we're gonna go back a year to
I want to hear this story.
Girls, their anniversary party. So this guy this guy up here decides to bring the belt with him. And he talked so much about this belt and how it's custom and how the Wrestling Realm has it and all the concepts and all the cool stuff that came up with coming up together. And even Brandon, your name was thrown in there at the concept of coming up with it. And I see the belt and I saw it on somebody that I wasn't particularly cool with. And in my drunk head, I'm like, I want that belt because it looks cooler on me than it does this person. And on my sober mind is like, I have heard too much about this belt for me not to take a picture with it. Everybody's taking a picture with it but me. I'll be damned if this is another party that you're going to let other people besides me take a picture with this belt. So I ripped it off that person. I ripped it off that person's hand.
Was this a him or her?
It was a him. And I'm like yelling. Mind you, whoever that bartender was that made that drink, those drinks were too strong,
Oh boy.
way too
Okay.
strong. And I had it pre-gamed before that. So now you're double dosing it, right?
Oof.
And Justin Rich will tell you that I was on one. Like my cousin had just showed up. My cousin that always gets me lit. Shout out to my cousin Leo. She's watching this now from her job. That always gets me lit. Shout out to anybody else who thought it was okay for me to go and take that belt. I snatched that belt so quick, and I started taking pictures with
Yeah,
it.
because you
And
missed
I'm
it
like,
at the Battle Club show, the Battle Club Pro
I
show that
did.
September.
I did, and I was like, everybody got to take a picture with this belt but me, and I'm pissed about it still. So then I'm like yelling, like, you know what? I'm gonna do the Trish Stratus pose, and that's when you start me like raising the belt the way. And I was just like, I just felt good that I got the chance to like take a picture with this belt. Like, I look good with that belt. Like, let's
Do
be
you like
real.
red?
Like,
But do you like red?
I like it because you know what too. Like, I'm gonna give you a little story. It's a Wrestling Realm exclusive, if you will. I am Liberian American. My parents immigrated from Liberia, West Africa, and in Liberia, there's actually a province towards the north, towards Niger, that's called Maryland.
Wow. What are the chances of that?
So, seeing that there's the Maryland crest is on that belt, I feel like it is meant for me to hold
Oof. Oh wow.
the ancestors. So every
Yep.
time I see that belt, I'm going to hold it very preciously. Like, and sorry to my brother because I like yelled at him because he tried to take it off my lap, and I was like, "Give me the belt!" Like I'm holding it.
I
I'm
was
in
thinking it was
charge of
too
it.
heavy.
No, it's never too heavy for me. I want to hold it. So
Mm.
I was like, I'm holding it, and I held it at Battle Club Pro during the Jobber Slam show, and people were like, "Ooh, what is that?" And I made sure people didn't put their crusty looking hands on it because
Wow.
the Maryland crust, it means that much to me. So Maryland, America, Maryland, Liberia, we all won. So that's why I'm protective of that belt, and that's why I
So
feel
I'll
like
tell you what. Next time, if I'm not at the next place that you are, and Brian
There
H.
you go.
Waters will, I'll make sure the belt goes with you. Okay,
Yay.
Brian H. Waters, you heard that? Whoever
Yes, sir.
sees her next, you got to take the belt. But you also have to take the traveler belt with you because this belt travels. But
Come on, bro.
I will personally make sure that this makes its way to you, so that way you can do a double Universal Intergalactic Championship holding of it. Okay. And if
I
you
love
really
it.
want the big boy, you see the black one up top?
I see that.
Okay.
I
We'll
see
talk
that.
about that
That's
a
the
little
only
later.
one that I haven't. So I haven't held that one.
Okay. There's a black and a red version of that one as well, but
Yeah, that's
what-
right. I got the red version. You're not getting it back until I get my tag title back. It's a hijack.
You know,
So-
the longer you wait, the worse it gets, right?
Oh my
It's getting bad.
God.
I didn't think it was going to get bad. See, let me give you a preface of what he does. So, my belt, I have a belt here, right? It had some chipping on it, right? And he said, "Well, listen," and we were doing a show. He said, "I'll let you hold my title until we can get situated," because he had, talked to a guy who was trying to get his belt fixed too. He had the same, malfunction on his belt as because he gets the intergalactic version. You know, how WWE has the universal version, the red
Yeah.
version.
I got the intergalactic.
So,
Okay.
so I go. I say, well, wait a minute. Like, I'm the only one that haven't got my tag title yet. I haven't gotten around to getting it. And I'm like, well, I still have your intergalactic title. You're not getting this big. First of all, the belt is massive. Like, understood version's massive. I said, you're not getting this back until like it's gonna be equal trade. See, I thought I had one up on the Belt King. He shows up 2 weeks later with another version on the black strap. I say, who does that? So now it's this
Belt guy.
obviously the belt guy. So every week he just trolls me, is because he's annoyed the fact that I haven't come pick it up yet because I'm taking up his personal belt space. He gets rid of belts just to buy new belts. But like
So
I
it's
said,
collateral.
it was supposed to be, but I'm losing right now. And
Okay.
but
And it's not collateral if you're losing.
yeah,
So it's
no,
funny
not
because we
quite.
went to Monday Night Raw. Me and Hugh, they were taking pictures out of the CFG arena, and we were the first pictures that he took. And Dwayne sees it. He sends it a group message. Wait a minute, that's my belt because I took his belt to Monday Night Raw. But sorry,
Like,
we got off topic. You know how that gets.
I couldn't even go to Raw in my hometown, but the belt goes.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Like, and then he goes, "Oh no, it's okay, Realist. I got you. You're there in spirit. I brought the title." Like, that doesn't make me feel better.
So you were robbed of the opportunity of holding that belt.
You see how I feel now. Like, you see how you just said that? That's exactly how I
You
feel.
were
So
robbed.
I just wanted you to be familiar with what's going on because we don't behave ourselves when you have guests. And I'm like, what are they fighting over? I just wanted to let you know what was going on. But like I said, well, I'm not going to put you in the middle of our business. That's Wrestling Wrealm business. We're not going to do this to our guests. People have been having a good time, and we want to keep things civilized. So
we'll keep the party jumping.
We're going to keep the party jumping. We're going to keep it going. So question, while brother Hugh gets himself situated, my question to you, ma'am, is at what point did you decide for yourself that you wanted to kind of put yourself out there in this space in regards to the internet wrestling community as it in what may well be known, right? I know it takes a lot to be kind of a public figure. Brian H has shown us the way and mastered it. He's the guy. Yeah, you have, because Brian H was always putting himself out there no matter what. He was for the beginning. Brian H didn't care what equipment he had. Brian H didn't care how he looked as far as like fitting in. Like he was like, look, I know my stuff, I know my content, and he just and we were like, oh, that's not going to work. And then you look at it like, oh shoot, it worked. I remember we were in college, and then one of the professors was impressed because he had a business card. Everybody talked about starting shows. He's like, no, I have a show. Let me prove it. And he pulled out his business card with his information on it, and the professor was impressed. Now, mind you, this is at the beginning stages of what we were doing, where the technology wasn't as readily available to us. It wasn't as fancy. We did what we could, and that's always been Brian H's kind of attitude towards everything. So we were like, well, shoot, because first of all, I thought I was bad. First of all, brother Brandon doesn't do anything. You talking about a hermit? He didn't go on camera.
Why do y'all wait? I have to stop you. Why do y'all treat brother? Why do y'all treat him like that? Like,
did you see what he did to me? Every week he trolls me.
Thank you,
no,
CM.
don't take his side.
Thank you.
Don't
That's
take
kind of
his
what
side.
you do with the oldest.
No.
You got the oldest brother. Everybody
look.
gang on him.
No,
Okay.
because I
feel like in pop culture news, Brandon, you'd be the Kourtney Kardashian of this clan. Like that's how they treat Kourtney Kardashian.
Listen,
Brian, you're Kim. So don't laugh.
I'm about to say, who's Kim?
Wow.
Brian is Kim because
Why
you're the
gotta be
most popular one. Because you're the most popular one. He was Rob because Rob's not that much trouble. He's very quiet.
You think he is?
Okay.
Yeah. Stick around long enough. The shenanigans will come.
All right, so who's Dwayne? We're gonna tweet this.
It's obviously it's only one left. Like, what do you mean? I'm the one stuck in the middle.
It's Chloe.
There's two Chloes.
Chloe. No,
wait.
Chloe.
Who's
no?
Courtney?
I said Courtney was Brandon. And then I said that Rob is brother Hugh because he's quiet right now, so I don't know what's gonna happen after that. And then of course Brian is Kim Kardashian because he's the most popular one. And then Wayne, you're gonna have to be Chloe for a while until I realize how you guys act, and I can change everything around. So that's only based on what I'm seeing right now.
You do realize he's gonna make a graphic about that, right?
Is it?
But that's fine. I'm with it. This is the kind of stuff that I want to create.
Am I Courtney before she met Lamar Odom or after Lamar Odom?
No, you're before she met Lamar Odom. She was cool.
Okay,
like
I'm okay with that. Okay, because she was
she stood her ground and
stuff. She was the voice of reason. She was the voice of reason.
She was. Now I don't know what's going on with her. I don't know.
But like I said, as we as food. First of all, that comparison threw me all the way back. It was perfect, but it's that's what Brian H taught us. He was the blueprint. He didn't because he's unapologetic. He doesn't care. He's like, what you mean? I'm Brian H. I'm doing it, and he jumps out there, and he's like, he showed us that it was safe to do so. Like I came out of my shell, brother. He came out of his shell. Brandon came out of his shell, and here we are today. So I guess my question is, when did you have that moment for yourself when you decided this is what I want to do? And not only just in wrestling. I mean, you do this in fashion, you do this in makeup. You do this in beauty. You've done this in so many other platforms on top of starting your own, your own brand in regard to providing resources and help for mental health. And I know you're a strong mental health advocate, and being open about mental health advocacy is very important to you. But it takes a set to put yourself out there and do something like that. When did you have that moment for yourself when you decided this is who you were going to be unapologetically?
Well, me and Brian actually dived into that when I was on Breaking Through Glass Ceilings with him, and most of it came from having a story to tell, and then knowing that there's someone that can benefit from hearing that story. Like, for instance, there's like I say that every day I'm blown away by people that tell me, "Hey, I'm a wrestling fan," and um, when I attended SummerSlam for the first time, I went into it with little expectations. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna do my little content thing, I'm gonna do these TikToks here and there, and I'm gonna get to recap it with my friends and even write maybe an article or something, just talk about my experience, right? And then the amount of people, I'm so excited. Like, you don't know what it feels like to get an email from WWE, be like, hey, here's your press credentials, and I'm sitting at work. Like, for example, I'm at work. I do corporate, and my boss is looking at me like, wow, I'm smiling from ear to ear. And I'm like, oh, just to let you know, I'm not here Friday. I'm flying out to Detroit. And he's like, Detroit, where the hell are you going? And who's giving you these days off? And I'm telling him, and then I'm sending him the email. I'm showing him the email. And he's like, oh, snap. He was like, wait, so you're going to meet like Michael Cole? And I'm like, wait, how do you know who Michael Cole is? And why are we having this question? And he was like, I haven't seen wrestling since like The Rock was in like the Nation of Domination. And he's going on a rant about like how he used to watch the Ultimate Warrior, completely showing his age, by the way, like all these things, and like him and
Wow.
another guy get into a conversation right in front of me, and I'm like, you never know who's connected by wrestling. Like, I'm convinced that 90% of people you are around have watched wrestling at some point. And he's like, I'm showing him the press credential. He's like, oh, well, have fun. I remember going to like a live event when like Stable took off her shirt, and I was like, wait, dude, again, you're showing me your age. So we're all like, he's just like talking. He's excited for me. Then I'm telling my mom and my dad, and they're excited for me. Then my brother's like tweeting that I'm doing big things, and he's showing that he's proud of me. And then like I'm around like the most
And your brother had a
motivational
good
people
week
in the
that week
world.
too,
Yeah, like he got to meet
chilling with
Kofi
Kofi
Kingston
Kingston.
at DreamCon like a week before that, and he was like geeking about it. So like, this is something that makes something excited. So like, why not talk about the things that make you excited? That's what every content creator does. Like, if you look at the pandemic, how many people rose to content creating? They did one thing and one thing only. They all did and talked about things that they were passionate about.
Mhm.
I look at who's a good person that's example in this space. I look at Izzy, right? Like the little girl who like Sasha Banks made cry. She's a full-blown content creator. Like, she's a full-blown like podcaster. But imagine if somebody had told her like, okay, you used to attend shows where you were 10. That's enough. Sit down. Don't do it. But no, she's still doing it. She's still out here. And it's a bunch of us that just want to talk about what we want to talk about. Like, everybody shouldn't be interested in the same thing. Like, it's boring it's boring for everybody to just be like, oh, we're all doing the same thing. Fine, but you're doing it. It's your opportunity to make it what you want to make it. Like, there are thousands of women on podcasts talking about women who wrestle, but I look at Kristen, I look at Patricia every day, and they're not afraid to talk about and say the things they want to say. You know, there's a bunch of wrestling podcasts, but I look at like you guys, and I look at the Black Wrestling Podcast, and I look at Jobberteers, and I look at all these creators that are just like, no, we can all agree to disagree on this, but let's get out there and let's talk about it. And it's just the aura of, if you love it, do it. Like, if you doing something you love, you never have to call it a job. I don't consider singing the
Facts.
best hobby in the world. So when I started, and then just to dive down briefly into that, when I started the Well Minority, I went through a very difficult time. My relationship wasn't that great. I was with somebody who was not motivated to care about anything that I was doing. um I didn't really know where my life was going as far as like career, or as far as like personal go. So I went through a really dark space, and when I came out of it, I was like, I don't want anybody to ever be in that dark space that I was in. So I started talking about my experiences more on social media. Back when, you know, back in the pandemic, I was doing Rails, and then I started giving my advice, and then I started saying how I felt, and more people just kept agreeing with me, agreeing with me, agreeing with me. And they kept hitting me inboxes, and they kept trying to talk to me about how I was feeling because they felt the same way. So I said, I wonder if there's a space for us to do that. Like, is there a therapist or somebody that somebody else could talk, or even I could talk to? And there's none. Like, in a space where 78% of professionals in mental health are white, only 9% of them are African American, only 5% of them are Latin heritage. That number to me shook me. Another number that shook me is that men were taking their lives more than women, and that the pandemic had almost tripled the effects of, you know, of that. The pandemic made
Sheesh.
everything worse.
Yeah.
So looking at these statistics, I'm like, if somebody can have that resource of, or have like come on my page and see that I know all these things, all these books, all these websites about mental health, and they're reaching out to me by DM, I must be doing something right. So the Well Minority isn't just like a flashy, typical website where you click on this and it's just a generic website. No, I actually talk to people like through that portal. Same thing with wrestling. Like when I get on Fan Club, I'm so excited to hear what everybody has to say because they're just like me. Like I'm just coming off of SummerSlam, which I know we're gonna dive into, and I know for a
Mm-hmm.
fact people have thoughts about it. But I get to come on here every weekend, every Wednesday, and talk about it. And then there's somebody's in the comment box like, "Hey, did you agree with me? Like, what did you think? And what did you think?" That stuff gets me going. Like when you're around people that do things like you, it makes everything you're doing in that space much more fun. And that's what I hold on to every time that I get in space. That's what makes me excited to do this every single day.
I can't stop giving you a round of applause, man. Goodness gracious.
Thank you. I know that was like a winded response, but I just wanted to make sure I touched both.
No, it was perfect because
Excellent. That's
this is
great.
once again, everything you're saying is absolutely real, and that's the most important thing. And I think it's such a subject that goes kind of hand to hand with what we do, is because you deal with all types of individuals, and sometimes people tend to use public platforms such as social media
Mhm.
as outlets to express themselves based off whatever it is they may be going. So it's everything you said was completely perfect. It fits, it fits, it fits, it fits. Just like it's going to fit into when we break down SummerSlam in just a moment. But brother Hugh, did you have one
I
last
did.
question for
I did, but she actually answered it. I wanted to shine the
What
spotlight
was
on the
your
well
question?
minor. I wanted to shine the spotlight on the well minority. Just wanted you to give us a little bit more insight on the vision and everything as far as the well minority. But you pretty much hit it right on the head as you
Look,
I
she's
mean,
already
you was talking.
always
See,
a forward thinker.
yeah. I mean, it's birthday. We're coming up almost 2 years. I filed a LLC
hey,
a month from today.
mhm.
So we're coming up on his birthday. We're not having one big flashy party like this one, but the initiative is to basically the mission going forward now is to start a website,
Okay,
start a podcast with it, where I shine the light on people in the community that are doing the work, the therapists, the mentors, the life coaches, the people who have been through hard experiences. And it's really that. It's not a I've been through worse competition for me. It's more of like my story is gonna help you get through what you're getting through type
right.
situation. That's what I want more of because I got a lot of that from people even in this space that wrestling has literally it might have cured their depression, it might have gotten them out of a hard time. And even that type of story I like listening to, you know, it's just really there to share stories and to make sure someone has something to listen to that they could be like, hey, they went through this and did it this way, maybe I can get through it too. It's really what the well minority is.
All right, all right.
No, that's an excellent point you made there because it's something you said kind of struck a chord with me. I remember I was going through a real rough patch in, I don't know, maybe I've had quite a few, but I think this particular rough patch is maybe like 2000 and maybe I don't know 11 or 12ish, and
Mm,
I remember just telling Brian H, and I was like, man, wrestling has been there for me during like some of my most roughest places. You know what I mean?
yeah,
For a few hours out the week, man, I could just throw myself into whatever was on there and just really enjoy myself and not have to just really think about what was coming next. So it's crazy because I remember and all the pivotal points in my life, I always say like if I could write a love letter to wrestling, I would, because I would say, man, like
yeah,
no matter wherever I've been through, wherever I've gone, whatever has happened to me, I said wrestling's always been there. I said that's why I just have this affinity for this product, and I'm at a space now where I'm able to just like you said, we come on these type of platforms each and every week, and we get to have these discussions. So, like I said, it's one of the major reasons why we kind of we needed you on the show. We needed you to have this and for those that may be going through similar situations,
yeah.
they needed to really, really, really know that these resources are available, and this is not a taboo subject. You know what I mean? So this is, I'm glad. That's an excellent
Real
question,
stuff. Yeah.
Brother Hugh, that you
Yeah.
brought it to the forefront. And we thank you for, first of all, being open and vulnerable about such a subject, especially in this particular space, right? And but us Wrestling Realm guys, we do what the heck we want to do. So we want to mix mental health awareness and freaking professional wrestling. God dang it, we're gonna find a way to do it.
We
Yep,
gonna find a
yep,
way
yep.
to do it.
And I think, and I'm not going to get into it because we got to move on to SummerSlam, but you and Brian H did an excellent job. And for those who have not seen her interview with Brian H with Breaking Through Glass Ceilings, go back and watch it, because she specifically talked about something that has never been done before. And I'm afraid to say it because I don't want somebody to steal it, but I hope you forgive me for saying it anyway. You were talking about creating a space for professional wrestlers. Like you had talked about your journey as a wrestling fan. So you've been there at the bottom floor when people are just getting started, when people are kind of in the middle, when people are striving to make it to what we consider now the big leagues, and their mental health. How does it affect them? One, working so hard for so long, and what motivates them to keep going, or how do they motivate themselves coming back off a tough injury, still trying to chase their dream? Those things, play a huge effect, and even in certain situations where we have bullying, unfortunately, wrestlers have taken their lives because social media, it just couldn't take it anymore. But just the stress of this industry, and you trying to bring that to this platform is a much needed space. Like, it's no secret, we all know destructive performers, and we all know that, and we've all tried to be there for those. Brandon was Mr. Independent. When you were talking about Ring of Honor, and he was that version for us. When we weren't familiar with that side of it, he was always on the ground. He was always the one getting us familiar and bringing us to those shows. So it's like, that's one of the things you guys have in common in regards to understanding what it's like to try to be there. He also, like I said, he used to be co-owner, and booker of a independent that we had here. You know what I mean? And he had to deal with those things. He had to deal with the ups and downs of the performance. He had to deal with the performance, had a hard time separating business and friendships. So it trust me, it all connects.
I actually dated someone who was a wrestler. So
now see, look,
the mental health.
It's not like you're ready to drop some tea. Like we had a serious moment, but I'm like, wait a minute.
Because this person, they left the business and they're doing very well with their lives.
Gotcha.
They've actually picked a different profession. I don't want to go too much into because it's their story, but they were in the indie scene when we met. They got the call to go. They went to Performance Center, which was FCW, then turned to NXT. And this person had worked on their craft for so long and being a personality. And then when they got to the grit of it, they got we don't understand it, we're gonna try this out. They were on TV one week doing this, they were jobbed the next week, and it took like a personal family situation for them to choose between that and the business. And I guess because things were already not going too well there, he was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go home. And the toll after the business, I think a lot of people don't realize that. People just think that they're told good luck in your future endeavors, or they leave and that's it. But there's a lot that happens after. Like, there's a lot of reason why people leave, and I give a quick example. Brian was there. We went to the Philadelphia we went to a WrestleCon Philadelphia convention where we actually got to meet Shiloh Guerrero, which is Eddie Guerrero's daughter. And she told Krista and P and all of us why she really left the business. And she said a lot of personal things, a lot of mental things were going on with her. She'd gone as far as developed the eating disorder while she was in NXT, and there was so much pressure for her to go through the brand that she just decided, like, you know what, I know this is on my father's lip, but it's just not for me. Mentally, I wasn't in the best place to be there. She left. She has a great career in burlesque now, to the point where her mother is even proud of her. And it's just that those things that people don't consider. They think people just take their bags and they go home. But I bet you if you heard the stories of what these wrestlers really go through, you take a second look at them, like, wow, you went through some human ass shit.
Right.
And we've been dragging on you for the opposite. So just giving an example of why I would want to do that with wrestlers, because they have a story to tell. And if there's people that want to hear it, great. If there's people that are going to troll on it, sucks for them. But I feel like they deserve to have their stories being told.
That's why I watch Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah,
oh, man, good gosh,
all
that's
the
heavy.
things. No, like if we just to tap, because I don't want to get too far into Dark Side of the Ring. Like the episode that really broke me and there's a lot of episodes that really like break me, is Brian Pillman's story.
No, I
Because
can't.
I can't
It's too much.
imagine that your home life's not great.
Yeah.
And then your in-ring career, you don't know what the heck's going on. I can't imagine those things fusing together. And this season seems to be taking more of that, right? Where they're actually trying to get into the mental health of not only the families, but the wrestler themselves and their families after. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that they're skewing better in that direction, as to where it's not like, oh, this person went through this and that's why they ended up in a downward spiral. Like the Luna Vachon episode touches more on like the, wow, I can't imagine being taught to wrestle one way and then you're entering an era where you'd rather see half naked ladies than women wrestle. I can't imagine being mental in that state of mind. So
Yeah,
like,
that's a good
yeah,
example. Excellent
it's,
example.
yeah, they're doing a great job on Dark Side of the Ring. So kudos
Great
to them.
job.
Whew, that's Dark Side. I get into it with the fellas every week about Dark Side. I watched the Bash at the Beach episode, which was really good. But I said, man, I can't do it, fellas. I'm not built like that. I'm sorry. I can't take it, man. I got my heart is like I can't. Certain things is just like it's too much for me.
I was scared of the Marty Jannetty one, but
I haven't watched it yet.
It's safe. I'm like I can still.
I'm okay with Marty Jannetty because he's alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know,
Yeah.
sometimes it's like you when you watch some of them afterwards, you're like, oh, I can't even be a fan of this person. I mean,
Yeah.
you saw the
Like
play
Abdullah the
Rock Bell.
Butcher. The
Yeah,
Abdullah the
bro.
Butcher one had me tearing up because I was like,
Yeah.
damn, like you can't read, you can't write, and people are using you like that. Like I was literally
That's
like
rough.
tearing up watching it, and he like has no money now, and the caregiver, she kind of stole my heart because she was like, this man has been through A, B, C, and D. I am never leaving him. Like that put such a burden high. I'm like, oh my God, like there's people out there that care, and I'm one of them.
There
So
you
I
go.
get where she's coming from.
Yeah.
But you know what's good about the Marty Jannetty episode? You know who makes his appearance on that one?
Who's that?
Brutus the Barber
Oh, God.
Beefcake.
All right, let's
Up
move on.
see,
Let's
see?
move on.
I knew he looked directly at Brother Hugh when he said that too.
Yo, Conrad used to make me pop every time he would say that.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake, man. I wonder if you are you familiar with Primetime Percy Watkins? Perky Watson.
No.
Okay,
Basically,
no,
I
I was just trying to figure something out. You
Okay.
mentioned the FCW guy and somebody, and I wasn't gonna ask you. So I was just like, I wonder if it was Primetime Percy Watson. Sorry, just asking. I just wanted to ask. We're not gonna get into it.
Not.
Okay. I just thought I'd ask. I was like,
that one in there.
if
I
ask
will
it,
tell
maybe-
you after the broadcast, and I will show
Okay,
a picture,
after-
but I am not.
Realm After Dark.
For the
We're good.
respect of this
Oh,
person,
we're gonna do a Realm
and
After
the other
Dark?
person that
Yeah.
I dated before he became a wrestler, I will not be giving the names of anybody who's involved in the business that I have dated on this show, because
That's-
they hold a
Absolutely.
place in my heart. They are the only two men that were the sweetest to me. Every other ex is an asshole, and I respect them. So
Hey, okay.
we're leaving it at that.
Well, there. Hold on.
You know what
This
it is.
Oh, one more time. All right, we're going to shift focus.
Wait,
like
did
I
you
said.
have the roll board on that one? I just
I-
realized you're.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was of course. But it's definitely Ric Flair role. I thought I'd try to get last time when Janelle said we tried to get her to break the guest for who was the special guest for Jabba Slam, and she wouldn't tell us. So I figured we try to break you and try to get permission. But we'll
was
save
the
Realm
ultimate
After Dark.
swerve. I think me and Seindol's face when we wrestled Darius Carter.
See
And
that?
she got the footage. Y'all gotta make sure y'all check out her vlog because she got like the up close footage of everything.
Bro, when I saw it, I said, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" Freaking Darius Carter came out there kicking stuff. I said, "Oh my god!"
No, it was great. I if Darius apologize to me, I tell him don't ever apologize to me a day in your life, because
Wait, he
if anything, I
apologized? You
love
just broke.
more.
You shouldn't have told people that.
I said
Oh,
if he
you
were
said
to
if.
ever break and apologize to me, I tell him what
Yeah.
the hell are you apologizing because that's how you
Please.
stay in character. Please,
you go.
like push my ass out the way. That's how you stay in character.
And last year he got an old lady face.
He did.
The dedication.
The art of heel. Like you have to keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
You hear that, Brian H?
He knows all about it.
Wow, I'm not.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Brian H.
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Hollywood, do you hear me?
I'm looking for you, Hollywood.
Oh, listen here,
Bad
brother. You
enough I
gotta
had to
make sure you
deal with
always
it
in the
all
front.
weekend in Detroit. Now
All
here
you
go.
fans throwing trash in the ring can stick it, brother.
Wait, no, can I tell you? So, like, this guy complains, I'm not Hollywood. Y'all need to
Not.
stop. We didn't even, no, don't say anything. We didn't even walk into the area yet. And all of a sudden, I'm ready to record my vlog. And all of a sudden, I hear, oh my God, look at that. It's Brian H. Waters. I know who that is. It's Brian H. Waters. And shout out to King
That's-
Coley. And I'm like, why? I'm like, who is that? And then he's like, dap people up. And he's got to do the, oh, this is Seindole. And this. I'm like, you talking about you ain't Hollywood, but you got people out here in Detroit who know your name.
That's why I'm going nowhere. That's why I'm going nowhere with it.
So,
I don't go anywhere
I'm
with
gonna tell you a hot take. I'm gonna give you a hot take about that. Me and Hugh talk about this offline all the time. If we have to go somewhere as the Realm and as Brian H by himself, we don't want to go because one of us has to go because I'm going to be literally in the background like, am I the bodyguard or something? Because he gets engulfed with so many people, and then like, especially if the show is over, you know, it's another hour of come embrace me because I'm Hollywood. Come on, embrace
No,
me.
not even a break, but
Come
he's just
love
like
me.
making those like Asian connections. Like he's dapping up somebody in WWE, and then he's dapping up another like reporter. And then this old and the old guy Bill was so cute.
But we don't even
I was
actually
so
be
after.
doing this stuff anymore.
Huh? Yeah,
Because
Bill,
we don't want
he's
to be
like,
part of it.
he's like, "What's up, man?" He's hugging this old guy, and this old guy is like, "What's up, Brian?" And I'm just like, you know, people like, why the hell do you not? And you wonder why your name
We don't even ask
is
him
the
where he's
way that
going.
it.
Man, I love
We
it.
just
though.
going
I
at
love it.
home.
I'm
Ever since
glad
he-
you get it.
Ever since his heel turn, he's been amazing. Hollywood Brian H. It's like Hogan. This Hollywood Brian H. Waters, man.
He shed the weight and turned heel. That's what happened.
Bro,
Uh-huh.
it just
At the same time.
I
The
want him
Jack
to-
Daddy was here for like 10 minutes, and then it was like Hollywood is arrived.
yeah, because you do you know why were you aware of his heel turn? See it though?
No, I wasn't aware. No.
I'm gonna tell you why he's a heel. No, I can't. I'm not gonna get him in trouble. It's okay.
Realm After Dark.
Realm After Dark.
Realm After Dark.
Realm After Dark. See, this is the stuff we'll talk
It's
about.
my fault. I got him in the gym. It's my fault. I'll take
She
that.
know what
I'm
it
sorry
is.
for
She
that.
just
Nah,
don't
she
know
know what
she
it is,
know
but
what
we
it
just-
is.
I know what it is.
Yeah, that's what it
I
is.
can't see.
But listen, we got a little bit of time left. We're gonna get into SummerSlam. We need to find out if Miss Seindole enjoyed SummerSlam this year and did it live up to
Right.
expectations, or was it as good as last year? Hold on. Let's jump right into it. First and foremost, yes, the bell has rang. We can now begin SummerSlam 2023 in Detroit. You were there.
Yes.
How
I
was your
there.
experience at SummerSlam this year? This is usually when we
Um,
say SummerSlam, we're looking at Los Angeles. We're looking at Atlanta, sometimes New York. But this is a change of pace. We were in Detroit Rock City. We in the
Woo!
Motor City of Detroit.
Motor City.
How was your experience of SummerSlam, being there live and in person? And tell us overall, did you enjoy the show? Did it live up to your expectations this year?
You know what? For my first out of town SummerSlam, I would say it's definitely one made of memories. It's definitely one for the books. I did get to explore the town a little bit, so I didn't just go to the superstore and then to the show and went home. Shout out to Janelle from Jobber Tears, and Danny from Pretty Heels. We actually like went around the town, so we went out to a bar. We had some all right, we're here drinks. We went to a place called The Yard, which is not too far. We got to explore a little bit of the local scene, did a little walk, did take some pictures, some art. There's a lot of street art in Detroit, which I did not know. We got to do that. We were downtown for a little bit by Ford Field, and I met up with P and Brian earlier. We had our own little fun. I was not allowed to sleep. And that's the type of weekend trip that I like. I like to be outside. I like to explore. I like to see what the town has to offer. And Detroit's a very active town. Downtown Detroit is a party town. It's like any other city. It's like any other city. People are out there till 2, 3 in the morning. So it was a good place to be in. It wasn't like Hollywood where everything's always open, or it wasn't like New York where everything's 24 hours, but they put on a good display. They put on a good show. The people were excited. I never seen that many people from the hometown boo the fact that they didn't get a WrestleMania, which blows my mind. I'm like, I'd be just as pissed. They were pissed. Brian will tell you, every time they saw Philly, they were like, boo. Cartman, every time Wendy talks on South Park, he's like, boo, Wendy, boo. They were like, Philly, boo, boo. No, we want WrestleMania. So the people were for it because they hadn't had something like this in the caliber in a long time. And I appreciate that because we were crying that WrestleMania wasn't in Jersey for a long time. Like we hadn't had it since MSG. So I could appreciate like the excitement that these people had. And it was just SummerSlam. Like they packed Ford Field like it was nothing. Like I was in awe, and you'll see the video when it comes out on YouTube. I am in such awe at how big the production was, how people were moving and making things happen, and the people filling up the space, and how excited they were, that I was just like, this is why I'm glad I traveled out for this, because being at home is being at home. I'm gonna run into a couple of people that are out of town. I'm gonna run into some people I might know from home is different, but being in their space and being in their town and seeing what they're excited about, that's what made the trip so special. So from watching Cody Rhodes finally beat Brock Lesnar to getting to go on the floor and seeing the tribal combat match happen, you know, and aside from that, like being with my friends, I think that's what even made it even more special because, like I said, I went to WrestleMania by myself, and now we're fast forwarding almost a decade, and I'm doing it with two of the best people in my life that literally get me and understand why I'm passionate about watching this.
It's priceless.
It made it all the more, it's priceless. Like you couldn't put a price tag. Like nobody could take the weekend away from me to the point where I'm on a plane at 6 a.m. I'm like, I really just attended my first SummerSlam, like out of town with my friends in a press box, and I got to go to a press conference, and I got to see Triple H in a freaking suit. Like you can't take anything that happened away from me that weekend, and that's what matters the most. So Detroit, I mean, I'm now hoping y'all get a WrestleMania because I see y'all pandemonium. Y'all deserve one. Let's see. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna happen. Brother Brandon says no, but I mean,
oh no, that's not
Brian
me.
says no. Brian says no.
says no.
Sorry, but you know, maybe they might get one. Maybe they don't. Maybe they get another SummerSlam. But those people really appreciated anything WWE coming to their town, and that's what I like to see. Because in New York, I got it 3 times, and I'm spoiled. I don't need it again. But towns,
that city, WrestleMania.
We gotta talk about the after because. We saw people twerking on cars in a broken streetlight after. So maybe in a couple of years they might get one. But not.
Bruh, we walking afterwards. And and shout out to Nikki Bushi. She was trying to find her car. Poor thing. Didn't realize she was closer to the stadium. Arena. But you know, it was no way we was out there letting her walk by herself. And we're walking around, I'm like, yo, why is it like they literally stopped traffic? Like it was a red light. And it was like a party. Everybody jumps out of the car. Like she said, they twerking on the truck. And then you got people blowing the horn. I'm like, uh-oh. Then you go in the stores, you got people coming in and acting crazy. You know how like in Baltimore, most of the time when you downtown, it's not like if you're gonna run into ratchet stuff, it's in the inner city, like York Road or down the hill. It ain't downtown for the most part. At late. That's how it was there. And I was like, yeah, even like Rosenberg said the other day, he was like, yeah, that city, as far as like, I'm thinking like WrestleMania there.
In a couple of years when it's completely genderfied, maybe. Because they're like every urban city has it, like the Uber driver was telling me about Greektown, and I'm like, all right, that sounds cool. And he's like, oh, you're not too far from me, or walk from there. I'm like, anytime somebody tells me I'm gonna walk from a gentrified from an area that looks urban, I know it's becoming gentrified. And Lord behold, I'm doing a walk to go get coffee, and there's like a Whole Foods right here, and then a crackhead asking me for change on the left hand side. Yeah, it's gentrified. So
sounds like gentrification to me.
They did ask though, could they get it in 2027 because they want the 40-year anniversary of Hogan Andre.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're bringing it to Philly, which in my head, I've been to Philly on numerous occasions. There's no difference. Like if people are gonna act out. If you go 4 blocks north, you're in North Philly, you're gonna see what you saw in Detroit. So to me, if they're gonna bring it to Philly, they're gonna have their options open to bring it to Detroit somewhere in the far future, because people who are coming to Philly, just know, don't go to Derby and don't go up north. And that's all I'm going to tell you. But all in all, for that city, it was an interesting time. It was a good time. And I did it with some really kick-ass people that I now call friends and colleagues. You can't take that weekend away from me. It was a great SummerSlam. The matches itself, or just got off of Fan Club. I rated Shayna and Ronda a 3.4 because I didn't get MMA rules, but everything else was great. I mean, Io Sky becoming the women's champion. Shout out to her. I mentioned it there, and I'll say it again. They're 1 year out from fucking with Bianca Belair. The way they did when they all showed up last year, which I think is great long-term booking and storyline telling. So they get an A+ for that.
Nah,
lot
but
of people
Seindole
mad
sat
at-
down. She was the only person
I
sitting
sat down.
when
Like,
that cash in
again, you'll
happened.
see in the video, like I completely sat down. I was just like, okay, I'm ready for her music to stop playing because we get it. Like she's a champion now. Like move on. We got like a whole nother match.
I actually got that player right now to see how it came out on TV. I didn't realize Bianca did the whole C4 thing.
Yeah,
That's the only thing I hate about these new entrances, like Royal Rumble and SummerSlam, by having that long entrance. And like Brother Hugh could say, like, even remember last year, it's the same thing with SummerSlam. You can't see because they don't really, and even last year, they at least showed you on the video screen. They didn't show us on the video screen them walking down. So we missed all of that.
we missed all the entrances.
Oh wow.
We can only see like this beaming light from the beginning. You knew people were coming out by the time the spotlight was there. But as far as like the big screens on the side, I guess because you know the camera, the optics, all they show with their names. So unless you zoomed in with your camera, you didn't see anybody until they got to the ring. Because I wanted to see Charlotte Flair's jacket because I follow her stylist King Troy, and he had like a bright sequence red robe for her. Like the best Ric Flair robe she's ever imitated was that robe, and you can't see it unless you like zoom in. But you know, we didn't get to see everything until we got home.
So do you find yourself doing that after you go to a live event? Like you go back and watch the playback or watch it on TV?
Oh yeah.
Do
After
you notice a major difference between the two?
Yes, because for example, I went to the Survivor Series where it was Brock versus Taker, and everybody was very much quiet. Like no one got out of their seat because remember, this was the match after Brock had beat the streak.
Oh, you mean SummerSlam?
Yeah, this was the SummerSlam after Brock had taken the streak. So nobody was going to the bathroom. If you went to get a drink, you probably left that drink at the bar. If you went to go get food, you left that line hungry because nobody wanted to miss that match. So seeing it on TV, I just remember the people in my section being quiet until, you know, they got up again because this was the moment that Heyman had came in to raise Brock's hand because the ref, somebody had accidentally called for the bell and the ref got pissed. But from where I could hear the ref yelling at the bell announcer like, hey, who told you to call the bell? I called the bell. What are you doing? And my brother was like, no. He's like, yo, the match isn't done. And I said, wait, what? Because a lot of people were ready to be pissed again. Because you understand, like, to be Undertaker is one thing. You were trying to beat him twice, bro. And then he put him in the Hell's Gate and people were cheering. And then that would, like, it was different. So I went home and watched that again. And I said, oh, I see why the ref thought. I see why they thought, because the Undertaker on one side had, like, waved his hand. They thought he tapped, but he didn't. But in the arena, you can't see that. So the bell starts ringing and you're like, wait, what the hell happened?
Oh, wow.
But you get home and you're like, oh, that's why. So
I would have never thought of that though, but that's actually a really good point though. No, I mean, I think that's a crucial part. I always ask all my buddies, like I just asked Corey, you know, my kicks and my flicks. I say, bro, how did you like SummerSlam? And you know, it sounded. I say this all the time in the group text. I'm like, bro, it sounded nuts on TV, so I know it was probably 10 times more crazier in person. And if anybody's never experienced a live event, especially on a major platform like a SummerSlam or any other WWE PLE, man, it's a whole different. I've gotten hyped at regular arena shows, so I can only imagine being in the sea of that many people. I'm gonna do a pop-up at one of these shows randomly. I'm gonna fly in. I'm gonna pull up in a limo and do all kind of stuff, and everybody's gonna be shocked when I just get out. They're like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Man, I'm just here taking in the sights." So trust me, I'll have my day. But you mentioned quite a bit as far as SummerSlam, and you mentioned some things, but we're gonna highlight a few stuff because we need to get your opinion about some certain things, and we need to get your perspective on some stuff
You
So
know how I felt about opinions.
now listen,
Let's do
this
it.
is why we're here. What's your opinion about this man? LA Knight winning the Slim Jim
Oh,
Battle Royal.
yeah.
Also the new is he considered the new official brand ambassador for Slim Jim? Yeah.
Yeah. I
Pretty
mean,
much, yeah.
so pretty much, yeah. I remember when he was Max Dupree, and I said that's not going to work for him. They need to change
Terrible
him
idea.
immediately. And Brian knows every time I say that they should change somebody, it automatically happens. Like, for example, Braun Breaker. I told him he should have been heel because the face is not working, and look at him now. He's like the bad version of Dominic Toretto. But
Yes.
with LA Knight becoming LA Knight now, there's more of a hyped wrestler, and they haven't had a hyped wrestler since The Miz. So when I see and you had to be on the streets of Detroit to understand, like they say the people are behind him. No, the people are really behind this man, like to the point where they're in the street and they're like, SummerSlam, yeah, and then you hear people from across the street responding. I have not seen that in years. Like you can only see that from one wrestler per year, and this happens to be his year because the people they really were cheering for him. Like if he I remember when he lost Money in the Bank, like how many people were like, "Yo, they don't understand how they're saying he's too old to be pushed," but you gave Damian Priest, who's like 6
40.
months old, that's a little bit more older than him, the briefcase. So I got that, and I'm like, yeah, this is somebody who's like worked long in the industry. I think he deserves a chance. So if him winning a battle royal and getting a Slim Jim commercial is that chance, he deserves it because he's amped. Like he's confidently amped, and I think that's what a lot of people like. They don't like an unconfident hype person. They like a person who knows
Facts.
that even if you don't like them, somebody next to you likes them, and that's what he brings to the table.
Do you feel like that it was done on purpose, the way that he lost Money in the Bank once they noticed? Triple H has been showing us that he's okay with the slow build. He does not worry about us impatient wrestling fans. He's like, look, I do the long-term thing. You guys are gonna have to start getting used to it. Versus he whose name should not be mentioned, because every time we mention his name, we have technical difficulties. Usually it's for the live audience. Let's just put on the best show in the moment. Versus Triple H is more like, no, like we're gonna make them be patient. Trust me, it'll be worth it in the end. Like to this day, I was upset about Cody Rhodes not beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. It's been well documented, but long term, I'm like, well, at the end of the day, I'm like, he kind of made the right decision because where the bloodline is at now. We'll get into the bloodline in a
my
minute.
connection messed up. What you say?
No, see, this is Brian H. There he is. There he goes again.
So
So
to answer your question, I am one of those people that didn't think he was going to win Money in the Bank. I thought it was
I
going to
didn't
be
either.
somebody else.
Yeah.
I said the wild card was actually going to be Damian Priest because Damian Priest had just came off of
Bad
doing
Bunny.
WrestleMania the year prior with Bad Bunny, and
Yeah.
then he went home to his down the block from his village in Puerto Rico and
Puerto
got
Rico.
to beat up Bad Bunny. So the all signs point to we're gonna give Damian this shot because if he could do this, he could do that. But when I saw the reaction of people saying that, he might not be pushed because he's too old, and I'm like, that's a weak excuse because there have been wrestlers who are older than him that got pushed.
Diamond Dallas Page.
Yeah, like mind you, keep in mind you got Ciampa,
Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley. You got Ciampa, who's been sitting in NXT forever, and his last run before he got to go to main roster was to finally be NXT champion. So like the age thing is always, I feel like a bad.
It's a cop out.
It's a cop out,
Yeah.
but I think it just took more of like maybe they're trying to see where the LA Knight character went, and I think he held his own with his feud with Bray Wyatt. Like it was kind of in an awkward spot, but he made it what he can make it.
Yes, he did.
Because what does LA Knight's excitement have to do with Bray Wyatt's character? Like I never understood that feud, but they made that glow in the dark match look real good. So I'm gonna give them that credit for that. So I think it's just a matter of, all right, the people like him. Let's put him here and see what he could do. And then he went out there to Detroit. Like I said, there are people that even before we got into the arena saw that he was in this match and were cheering for him. So the people like what they like. The WWE is trying to do more of, we're going to listen to the people that are with us.
Thanks, Triple H.
And this is what happens when they listen to him. So good for
But
LA
then,
Knight, to be honest.
did you watch the Cody Rhodes documentary?
I did. I
Okay,
watched it
so
as soon as it
Cody
came out.
and Cody said something that really resonated when he said about when he left, he was a kid. He came back, he's grown. And he was saying Seth Rollins is down older. You know, he's like, it's really a lot of grown ups now in these spaces. When people talk about LA Knight is too old, he fits in right in the range of all of their superstars right now. Their range is anywhere between 35 and let's say 50.
Yeah,
Because
pretty much.
if you think about it, Bobby don't look like, what is he, like 44 or something?
He's
45.
45.
Yeah.
Bobby's up there.
But who would have thought he was 45 years old, one, doing what he's doing, and then you look over at across the street where Sting is 746 years old, still moving like he's 30. You get what I'm saying? So it's like everybody say he's old, he's older. I'm like, that has nothing to do with it because that's the generation of wrestlers.
AJ,
We
what?
see gray in their beard. You know, at one point, you know, it's frowned upon to have gray in your beard. You had to die. Now it's like it's okay because that's the season that we are in these wrestlers, and that's. And don't get me wrong, I still would like to know, and I'm waiting for somebody to break it down. When
Hey, yo, what's up
LA
with that?
Knight became so popular at that moment, because it was like just all of a sudden it was like, oh, he's the number 1, 2, and 3 merchandise seller. Like, well, what is he, number 2 and 3 or something?
Wait, you're talking about
LA Knight.
LA Knight?
Yeah, his shirt sales. I
He
think
just
it was
they said he just beat
Yeah.
Roman. He just beat
He
Roman.
just beat Roman, but like I
SummerSlam.
said, and Brian will tell you, you had to be there. Like there was not one place we went into Detroit. Like we were at a bar and people were chanting, yeah, like they were trying to sell like LA Knight, like they behind him. You can't listen. These are the same people that were behind Roman when he left, and then he came back and they hated him. Then they told him he had leukemia. And he left, and they were feeling bad for him. And then they came back, and they still booed him. You don't know what direction these people can say they like blue, and then
That's
you
the
give
truth.
them yellow cake, and they say, "Oh my God, yellow's my favorite color." You don't know what way this fandom's gonna go. But like, once you
absolutely
like
right.
somebody, why not run with it? And I think they finally get that. Like, listen, they like this guy. Let's put him in their faces. And let's just run with it. I don't even think there's like they used to be like, oh, there's a science to making the perfect wrestler. You can't use that anymore because I remember when people like, and I'm gonna talk about him, Brandon. I'm sorry. CM Punk blowing a kiss of Vince McMahon was everybody's like favorite thing in the world. Why? Because he got to cross the bars. The same way that people were trying to make Stone Cold the bad guy for so long that him stunning Vince McMahon was the most appealing thing back in the day. Everybody loved it. So you don't know which way the wind blow is going to go with the wrestlers, but I just think what LA Knight is, he's cashing in on the right wave of the wind. And
Are you really holding CM Punk up? Are you really? Are we doing that?
I'm sorry. Matter of
No,
fact,
him. Look at the weight. Is that really
I'm
what we're doing?
gonna.
Yeah,
Oh, there he is. Hey, Phil.
He's
Phil.
representing
He's off
CM
sabbatical now.
CM
No,
Gump.
see, it's no. I just want to make sure that both he was his presence was here as we was talking about him. But no, I think Brandon Jesus keeps. I got listen. I don't know why he keeps walking away. Look, there he goes. Look at he goes. He pulls that out. Really?
What's that?
Cody, that's the Cody Rhodes pop when he was still had dark
we can
hair.
get him now.
Cody Rhodes.
Maybe, yeah.
Cody Rhodes earned the respect of Brock Lesnar. That was a great transition, by the way, Seindole. You've done this before.
Yeah.
Brother Brandon mentioned his documentary, which is masterful. Once again, I think they said it was the most watched documentary that the network has ever produced. It's from what I know. And it's to me, first of all, we all know we're looking at a bunch of propaganda because if you watch Monday Night Raw, Cody Rhodes kind of this is what Triple H does. This is his calling card. He does this little tease thing where he's like,
the dust.
Yeah, it's the Triple H dust we call it. First one, she was like, my mother said that he acknowledged you, and he looks at the camera, and then just when you want to start trying to, poke the bear, all of a sudden, Seth Rollins comes out, we get distracted, we have a whole situation. But Triple H does this thing where he drops off nuggets and he walks away for a little while. But we saw something that we saw Kurt Angle do with Brock Lesnar do years ago, and something that Michael Cole mentioned. He said that Brock Lesnar has never openly acknowledged respect for anybody, especially on a large platform. So it's a big deal. And when you think about Cody Rhodes, you think about him finishing the story, think about that documentary that came out so coincidentally before SummerSlam. you're saying, man, you think about the story that this man is on. Like I said, this is the story I didn't want to have patience for, but I'm like, man, this is turning out really, really good. He's really climbing this mountain that's going to take us for a wild ride. But I wanted to know what you thought about Cody Rhodes, and fellas, jump in by all means. Cody Rhodes finally earning the respect of Brock Lesnar, and something that we've never seen before from Brock Lesnar, him openly acknowledging Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it took me back to Brock and Cody. I mean, Seth Rollins, right? Remember when Seth Rollins was on Stone Cold's podcast? He said, he gave him a 6-pack of beers for putting him over because he didn't have to do that. And actually, that was I was telling Seindole, I was like, "Yo, that was gonna be my question for Cody. Did he plan to give Brock a gift for this?" And I think that
that'd have been a great question, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. But I look at it and I see, like you said, right after WrestleMania, I think it was the show right after WrestleMania, you realized Cody was doing his father's story. And that's what I see with Lesnar. It's like this obstacle course. Because like we did unpopular opinions on Cody Rhodes earlier. And one of the things I said was, if Cody doesn't get hurt last year, I think the fans turn on him personally. I think
it's man.
I think
I don't think they turned on him.
And the reason why, because he beat Seth Rollins 3 times. He went straight. He didn't lose a match. And I felt that the WWE universe would have said, all right, enough of this. But
he's not that indestructible.
Bingo.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for him, it was like, boom, he got hurt. Dang, that sucks. But this is probably a blessing in disguise because it cools it down. We all knew, like, after that third win, the second win over, I was like, all right, he's probably going to win the Royal Rumble. Then he says, we gets hurt. He's like, yeah, I got the date pencil. I'm going to be back during the Royal Rumble. We really knew he was going to win it. But then the story that him and Paul Heyman was able to tell. So I just think adding this other layer, like, him going over Brock. And I know Seindole kept saying Brock ain't what he used to be. He's not the Goliath that he used to be.
Anymore. Really? I got to hear this. I got to hear this.
Go ahead. I'm talking to it right now.
I stand 10 times toes. Listen, I watched Brock Lesnar, and this is me watching SmackDown as a kid. I remember when he used to like recklessly flip people over.
He was bad back in the day.
He was bad back. What? That man, like The Rock should have just laid on the floor when he lost that belt. I'm convinced to this day. I'm like, how you knew what it was when you signed up for it. And then he comes back and he's eat, sleep, conquer, repeat. He's the man that's the 1 in 30 and 1. Like, but you looking at somebody who's without somebody now is going to be my question for Mr. Heyman, because it seems like everything Heyman touches turns to gold. Brock is not who he is without Heyman. That's
you don't think so?
No.
So you're not enjoying
he was
by himself, Rock?
No. I didn't enjoy that whole cowboy BS. The man that's gonna kick it. I know. You were better when you had a representative.
I love Cowboy Brock.
I love Cowboy Brock.
Everybody does. I don't like face Brock. Let's put it that way.
Okay,
you were more feared and respected when you had no time to speak to anybody beneath you. You're not the bohemian. Like, there's other people that can lift people up and suplex them 4 times. We've seen it already now. Like, I'm pretty sure when they take this whole shush please gimmick off of Otis, he's gonna be doing it next. There's so many people that are like you now. I just don't think he's the same behemoth that people fear. Like, remember, kids used to fear Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the things that I think people I used to get nervous when Brock Lesnar came out. Brock Lesnar used to he was very violent. And you were like, man, he's gonna hurt somebody. And I was like, yo, what is Brock Lesnar going to end up doing when you remember the time he punched John Cena in the face? You would have seen it though?
I'm with you back now. Yeah.
Okay, good. No, I was agreeing with you for technical difficulties about you're right. People did used to fear Brock Lesnar, and even when he first came back, he was dangerous, and I was like, oh, she gonna break something.
So my theory was Brock would have to turn on a switch for him to beat Cody. And I was actually on the cusp of like, okay, there might be a chance where Brock does that. And they might go into a longer haul of Cody's not gonna lie down until he's earned not only the respect of the fans, but also the respect of you can knock me down, but I'm not staying down. And then that documentary dropped, and I like had to change my mind because I'm like, yeah, dude, you're not losing. Like, there's no way you're losing. Like, for you to put it out on the floor like that, and for you to basically say, like, I've been through this business. I've changed gimmick through this business. I left this business. I worked. I performed in gyms in the indie circuit. I went to Japan. I started a whole new competition to the point where wrestlers that used to work for you are going there. The owner of the company came to my house. You think I'm gonna let all this happen and you just gonna knock me out? Like, Justin called it a torn titty. I'm gonna just do it because I know he's watching.
Wow.
But I performed with a torn boobie. Like, you think you can knock me down? He had too much grit to just lose to Brock Lesnar. And that's why that's what made me enjoy this match even more. And I love that moment between them. I got emails because I was like, oh, like Brock Lesnar does not give respect to anybody.
And they said it was unplanned. Like that
And
wasn't.
it was like he looked like the
was
reaction in the
genuine.
arena. Cody looked shocked.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was
Like,
performing or what.
Like, they were head to head for a while, and Brock pushed off, and then the minute that he extended his hand again, Cody looked hesitant to take it, and then he hugged him, and he was just like, "Whoa!" Like, you never seen out of Brock Lesnar. That means Brock Lesnar has grown back. Because I remember when Brock Lesnar was like, "I don't give a f about this business. I'm
And
gonna
yeah,
get paid
I
to
remember
leave."
that. Yeah,
Now you're starting to see the Brock Lesnar that appreciates the talent he's working with.
there you go. Giving back.
Giving back.
It's and it's crazy you mentioned that. Let me tell you why I didn't believe Cody was going to win. And it's literally do you mind if I tell you why? Because everything you said was absolutely perfect. But I'm gonna tell you why I didn't believe him. Literally because I believed that bastard the first time and he lost to Roman Reigns. He had me convinced. He tricked me. And see, it's my fault. It's because I've been watching this stuff for a long time. I should have known better not to get pulled in, but I was believing the promos and he pulled me. I said, oh nah, this is happening. Bro, I was so excited. He was saying stuff, and the stuff he was saying was making sense. I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely me thinking I know everything. Okay, well, yeah, when he said that, he did this. It makes sense. It's this how the story has to end. And he did it on purpose. He knew he was gonna lose. He swerved us all. So now I'm like, I'm not believing you, Cody Rhodes.
But like, think about it. He can't. I want to say this the nicest way I can be. He's still not ready, and it's not a doubt in his ability.
He said that though. He said that in his documentary.
Right. It's more in he appreciates this business too much now, because before, when he started, it was to get what his father couldn't get.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now he's in the ins and outs of it, and he appreciates what longevity means. So just giving it to him, just based on the name, giving it to him because he was injured and did this and did that, is too easy.
Too easy. Yep.
He wants to be his own person. You can't be your own person and expect short-term success. You can't expect to become your own person and want the title tomorrow. And I said this on Fan Club that we just had. I said that I wouldn't be surprised if he don't take it from Cody and him, and if Seth, if the plans are willing, he's still champion by the time next WrestleMania comes. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes it off of Seth, because that's the perfect roundabout. He's one of Dusty's kids. Him and him are the same age. He beat him coming back from WrestleMania after being out of the company. He beat him twice in Hell in a Cell with a torn titty. Like, it would be the perfect longevity, like long-term booking, if he goes, listen, me and you have had battles in different fields in Philly. You're still champion. I want to end this battle by taking the one thing that my father could never even get.
See, this is bad now. Cause see, I was okay with my theories. You've just this. Usually, I get mad at Brandon for doing this, but now it stays you. I'm sorry. I know you're a guest, and I'm gonna say why I'm upset. Usually, I have in my mind. I already have in my mind, man. Like, okay, cool. It's gonna make sense. And then somebody does something to go, shoot, now I gotta rethink this. Like, you got me.
Brian didn't warn you that I would do this.
No, he didn't. He does this on purpose because he likes Brian's maniacal. He likes the live reactions. That's like this is it's part of his heel
Save
turn.
it for the show. That's what he'll say.
That's his famous line. Save it for the show. And I say that to you is because like, oh shoot, this man is trying to carve his own path, but yet he's still trying to do what his father would have done. His father got beat up he didn't beat Ric Flair for 4 years.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
think of but that 4th year when he finally beat him, it was
Your
like it
granddaddy
was
remembers that.
major.
Like
I
Dusty
was
was
like,
great.
oh no. Dang
Like
it.
your grandfather would tell you, Dusty was great, but man, was Ric Flair the man? Like Ric Flair was Seth Rollins is Ric Flair. I'm sorry, but like when you look at the flashiness,
Sure.
the
Best in-ring
clothes,
performer right now.
the coming to the ring and taunting people, his whole version of woe is people singing his song, people saying woo. Like Seth Rollins is your modern day version of a Ric Flair. Hands down. I said
Yeah.
that when he came out with those weird ass red boots. Like Ric Flair used to come out with a Ric Flair at one point came out with a Rolex that was Anchor back in the day, because somebody on TikTok talked about Rolexes that Asian time. That was a $15,000 Rolex. Like
Wow.
he flashing, had the title. Now
Back in
Seth Rollins has a
1983.
baby at home, so he ain't going limousine riding with no trick because Becky probably whoop his ass. But he's
She
as
will beat him.
flashy and having fun the way that Ric Flair had fun. So, and then you look at Dusty could never beat the man. What's the better way than to beat your own version of Ric Flair and say you did that, but your father couldn't?
Oh no. See, I was content with thinking that maybe this is going to be the year. Now you're like, you know what? This may go out. This may drag on for a few years.
People
Look,
like to dance forever. So,
like I said, book it in Atlanta. Atlanta, put your bid in for WrestleMania 42,
Oh, no. Nope.
41,
I can't do
42.
I don't think I can
And
last
Cody
this
can
long.
win there.
I'm too old for this, man. I can't just this is not how it used to be. I'm not used to it. You have to forgive me. But like I say, SummerSlam was a very packed card, but if you don't mind, we're just going to move straight to the main event. You've mentioned so many other matches, and I'm sure there's a lot of honorable mentions. There's so many things we can unpack, but trust me, we don't have time to do it in one show. Obviously, to respect
I just
your
want to
time.
say it was really cool seeing Gunther. Like I've always wanted to
Well,
see that. In
well, let's
Triple
talk
Live.
about it since you brought it up. Let's go into it.
No, I'm just gonna say that I'm a big fan of Gunther because, like, I haven't seen anybody bring their level of prestige to a title. I remember when William Regal.
Ooh, say that again.
I remember William Regal so bad. I actually liked William Regal. Like he used to be disgusted with people that were trying to touch his title, and he was such a heel, and he was such a quiet heel though. Like, and then he did promos here and there, and they ruined it by trying to make him a joke. But like with Gunther, right? I liked Imperium back in the day. I was big on, everybody knows I'm big on NXT. So finding out he went from Walter to Gunther, I was like, okay, they're just gonna make him.
We were pissed. I know I was.
I was like, what? I was like, his name is Walter. I was saying it for like a year. I was like, all right, well, his name is the in-ring General Gunther. I like that they finally gave him Imperium back. I'm happy they did that.
Thanks,
I got
Triple
back
H.
at Clash of the Castle. I was like, thank God. Like that makes no sense for it to be one person. But I like the matches he's in because his fighting style is diverse, and it's not much that you get to see in WWE, and they're bringing back the prestige of the Intercontinental Champion. And I'm happy that they talked about in the broadcast that he was 38 days away from breaking the Honky Tonk Man's record, because that's huge. Like the Intercontinental Championship was one of those titles they used to bounce around back and forth. And now it's not. And it's because they're so impressed with Gunther that they're not doing that. Poor Drew McIntyre. I know he wanted like a belt, but he's not getting that one. Sorry, move on.
No love for
Drew. I was just happy that he got a SummerSlam card, because he went a pay-per-view. I think the pay-per-view before that he didn't get a chance to have a match, if I'm right or wrong. Somebody can correct me, but he hasn't had as many title defenses on PLEs. Like it was Clash of the Castle, and then it was something else, and that was it.
Oh, Gunther?
Yeah.
He did WrestleMania and Night of Champions, but he didn't do the other one. He didn't do Money in the Bank, right?
He didn't do Money in the Bank, no.
Yeah.
Well, definitely shout out to the Ring General Gunther.
If you pay attention to that match, I always say how people come to the ring, you can tell how the match is going to happen. If you go look at Drew's face, Drew was like, "I'm just here for my paycheck."
Yep.
You can see
All
it
right,
all
let me
over the
get
check.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
That's how Drew looked. I was like, "He not
Right
winning
out
this."
of my mouth.
It
Yep.
didn't hit the
paying me.
same. Drew
Said
was
they're
just there
paying
for his
me.
paycheck.
He said they're paying me. I'm gonna make this exhibition happen for 20 minutes, and then I'm
Yep,
gonna go home.
and I'm done.
That's
Nah,
what
they
they
didn't
did.
do
so I saw Drew after the show and like heard what he said. They was ticked that the crowd was taken out of it before they got out there because of
Wow.
Shayna and Ronda.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Oh yeah,
And I was
nobody
like-
cared.
Oh.
I was like,
Bad lead-in.
ugh. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one for the
because-
realm.
Yeah, because that match made no sense if you were there
That
watching
match
it.
looked like it was like. Have you ever seen that episode of South Park when they had the cripple fight?
Oh come on.
That's what I felt like watching.
Wait,
that match.
is
I
that
was
the
waiting
same?
for something.
Is
I was
that
waiting
the
for
same
something
thing?
spectacular to happen, and I felt like it was like
Between
everybody-
Jimmy and Timmy.
Yeah, it
Is
just
that the
felt.
thing
It
you was
didn't feel
using?
like. I get you trying
To
to do an
talk
MMA,
about-
but I'm not watching the MMA show. Make it a
Oh,
fight
my
pitch.
gosh.
Make it a
Bro.
Raw Underground. Do something that's unique to you. You want to talk about MMA rules?
Bro,
And
I
this
said
is
the
what we
same
got?
thing, yo.
They just look
We
like
were just
they was like, get off me. Move here. Okay, arm drag.
And-
Okay, arm bar. Okay, and I was like, come on now, don't do this.
Nah,
to
when they like said when they did that spot where they looked at each other and basically said, "All right, let's do this for real," and there was no pop, I knew I was like,
it was
Yes,
like,
Yeah,
that's
they
it
were
was
what
like
in
we
the
trouble.
knew.
choppers.
And
We have
you
They
had
were
to-
in trouble.
But you
Yeah.
had
That's what
to
it
be
felt
there.
like.
Like we're all watching it. Like we went to the press box because like
We had to
for
charge
nothing,
our
my phone was
phones.
dying, and then we saw water, soda, and snacks. So you already know we was eating. Like
Right.
I've been to a Slim Jim. First of all, Slim Jims are disgusting. I would never eat that again in my
yo,
life.
they was like all over the place.
They
though.
were all over the
were
place.
Were the
and
Slim
they were the
Jims free?
spicy kind. But
Yes.
they were free. But they were the
Ah,
spicy
man.
kind.
They was the
It
spicy
gross.
ones. 'Cause I had one. I was like, oh man, I don't really like the spicy. I like the regular ones. But yeah, they was
Nah,
just
I
sprinkled
live
at
off
like
Slim
every
Jims.
station.
I don't even know more, but goodness gracious.
I was
mean,
like,
every
this is
once in a while.
disgusting. Like a reporter was laughing at me because I said that.
All
But
grease.
like
All it
they
is.
got to the point where Shayna looked hurt. So I think people thought like, oh, okay, is it done? Like, is it finished? And then Ronda's rude ass just pushes the officials, and she's like, "Come on, let's do this." Blah blah blah. And no one popped. No one did a damn thing. And I'm just
Shayna
like,
got beat
that's
up.
what.
She got
past
beat
the
up for no
fact of
reason.
believing
No one
that
popped.
Ronda-
If you
I
guys
can't
were
believe
watching the
Ronda Rousey
broadcast,
is flipping dudes. I can't get past that. Now
So if
somebody
you
like
guys
Rhea
were watching
Ripley,
the-
Raquel Rodriguez,
yeah,
they could flip some dudes. Bianca Belair, but come on now, pull down your shorts. Ronda Rousey is flipping dudes out the way. No,
I mean,
No.
it's leverage.
if they added applause in your broadcast, I hate to tell you, they were lying to you. That
No,
was an
it
illusion.
wasn't. It wasn't.
No
a, it
one
was just
popped.
silence
It
and
was dead.
confusion.
If you heard silence and confusion, it was silence and confusion. Like it was nothing. Like to the point where I think Brian will back me on this. I had live recorded my reaction. I like vlogged myself eating those stupid Slim Jims in my vlog. And then 1 minute, like we're both talking. I'm talking to Nikki Bushi, shout out to her, and we're talking about like stuff. We're talking about like the match. And all of a sudden we hear the bell ring, and I'm like, wait, oh shit, it's over. Like that's how quick that was, and no one got it. No one got
Mhm.
it. Nobody.
I think the
And it's
face
like,
paint was distracting. Everything
yeah.
about
It was
it
too
was
much.
just.
it was too much.
They both came with like Ronda wore her gi, but then what you call it, had the belt around her neck. I said, all right, we about to have like just call it a WWE.
It was
you can't
enough
get an
room in the
MMA match.
arena too. Like there was
Yeah,
like
they
a whole
could've
space
had-
behind. They could have put the little lions den. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, make
They
that the
coulda did
match.
something.
Like if you're gonna do it, or just have them have a wrestling match. Ronda
Yeah,
wins.
that's it.
Payback. Shayna wins in the MMA rules, and then they end in a fight pit. You know,
It
you would have
could've
had
been a
time to actually
payback
choreograph.
match.
You know, or ask somebody that know what they're doing with these type of things. Like, you know, you got a whole Drew Gulak down to NXT doing nothing. Have him help you choreograph a real tight fight because he used to
I
be
forgot
wasn't
who
involved.
produced that match.
Yeah, but think about what did he do at Evolve? That was his whole gimmick.
Mhm.
Those
That
type
was
of
his whole
matches. So why not? You gotta.
Evolve, yeah.
I hate to say it. Matt Riddle could have helped him make it
Yo.
look believable.
Shout out to Andre because that was the first thing I said to Issa. Like I was like, "This is worse than the Brawl for All," and I think 2 people
Oof.
laughed at me because that's
Yeah.
how like out of touch it was. Like imagine how the Brawl for All was when you saw people in boxing gloves and you're like, "What the hell are you doing?
That-
Why is the Godfather wearing boxing gloves?" Like that's how
Bro.
it felt.
But you said it though. That's
That was
exactly what
Sean
it was. It was out
Devari.
of-
He produced that.
Oh jeez,
God.
sorry, Devar. It was out of touch. That's exactly what it was. It was out of touch. It was like, man, where's the place in all this? But like I said, I wasn't going to bring it up. But since you did, you're a special guest. You want to go there? By all means, we can go there. But if you thought it was bad live, it was even worse on TV. And I know a lot of
Really?
people were
hoping it came out
it
better on
was-
TV.
Yep.
I
No, it
was
didn't.
watching it and I was like, oh my god, it's even worse as I'm watching it live because I
Nah,
still
it
don't
was
understand
bad.
what's going on.
See,
I
at
just
least
kept
we have-
saying,
At least we have commentary. They can explain, try to hype it up, and
Commentary
they
sounded,
tried.
Michael Cole
They
sounded
definitely
bored.
tried.
they tried. It was just the action didn't match the excitement, and they just
the
stopped. They
highlight-
literally stopped.
They
That
should've
kick.
just had a
Remember when
regular
Shayna
match.
kicked Ronda?
Yeah,
That kick was vicious. That was the highlight of the whole match.
Ronda sold the kick, which was good.
Because she
but it's like,
didn't move her head up fast enough. She got
shouldn't have
straight
been.
in the face.
Right.
But this,
Yeah.
they should learn from history that you can't have a real fight in a play setting. Like WWE is a play setting. No matter what you like, these people are rehearsed. You did not rehearse that match. Like y'all really went out there and was like, "Listen, we're gonna have spar practice, and we're gonna get paid for it." That's what it
that's
literally
exactly what it
looked
was.
like.
Yeah,
And
And
that's
then
why I
I'm
said,
gonna
as
choke
much
you
as I
out. You're
hated
gonna go home
Ronda
and take
Ground,
care of your kid. That's what it looked like.
NXT did Ronda Ground very well, and because you could tell it was all scripted. When they did it recently, I was like, okay, it's better than what Shane McMahon yelling and sweating everywhere. It actually felt like it fit the story in NXT. But
That
then
was
it's
still
like,
better than what we got this week.
Oof.
Shane McMahon yelling.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
But okay, sorry. On to
Nah.
the main event. 'Cause I know everybody got some opinions
No,
about
I
this.
just that was the only, like they said I was generous giving it a 3.4, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, that was pretty generous
That was
because
you
I'm
being
just
nice.
like,
I
huh?
thought you meant negative 3.4, but we're going.
I thought you just trying to support the ladies. I said I respect the solidarity.
but
No,
nah,
let's call it with equal playing field. It was bad.
it was bad.
It was bad. And you know I'm all about a good women's match because I say it's an equal playing field. If it's a great match, whether it's male or female,
There you
it's
go.
a great match. If it's a bad match, I'm not
It's a
giving
bad
them
match.
I'm not giving them no cut cards. I'm not holding no punches. It was bad. It was bad, and I expected more. As from Shayna Baszler being one of my favorite NXT wrestlers, and I really expected more. I was like, oh, they're gonna let her go back.
And I think that's what everybody's sentiment is. It's like, this was meant for Ronda to go out more than it was for Shane to be elevated because y'all never want to. I don't get why y'all went from Shayna basically being the queen of NXT. Like, this is a woman who choked out Bailey the second time I went to NXT TakeOver, and I was like, oh shit, she ain't nothing to fuck with. Like, that's the Shayna Baszler I know. That's the one I was introduced to.
I was about to say, especially when she debuted.
You got her in the middle of a camera shedding a tear, talking about something. My goddaughter's gonna hate me for choking out her mother, and then we don't understand half the match that's going on. Like, I don't like it. It was just frustrating to me. That's all.
It should have like a submission match or something like that.
But look at her time in the Mae Young Classic, and then they ran it back for the NXT Women's title. Both of those matches show who Shayna Baszler actually is. This was like, what is happening here? And I'm not taking. Ronda Rousey has had some bad matches in WWE, but she didn't put on some good ones recently. All I'm gonna say is that Friday night SmackDown one with her and Raquel made me say Ronda Rousey can have a good match because she sold it. She can do it. Her and Charlotte, you name it, she can have a good match. And it was like, what is this? Like, they clearly didn't rehearse. It was a spark. Let's go out there and do something. It's gonna look good. We're gonna look like the bad women on the planet. No, y'all look bad.
Y'all gotta watch the YouTube. Y'all listening to this on the podcast and in post production, watch the YouTube because Brandon's facial reactions says
fired up.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm done. Like, people trying to give it credit where it's due. It deserves no credit.
Yep, that sounds like Brother Brandon. That's how he's always judged wrestling matches. In case you didn't know, like I know you just met him, but trust me,
there need to be more of us so we can tell them like
from the
this is
guy
not
who
working.
has Shayna Baszler side plates. That's how much of a fan I am of her. So I was disappointed.
He was highly disappointed. I was watching the match with him, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this man!"
I can say, "What is this? What is happening? Why are we? Was that? Oh, that was a kick. Oh,
I can only imagine the critiques that Brandon was probably giving during the match. He wasn't tweeting anything out, so I couldn't catch it. He would type some stuff in the group text when he got really frustrated, but it was only but so much. But I'm glad, brother. You got to be a fly on the wall to witness that. Because as soon as you said, man, you should have heard this guy talking about it. I already know how Brandon can get.
Man, I'm gonna record it
especially-
next time. I'm gonna record
Please
it
do.
next time.
Just so we can just experience it when we're not there with him. But you know what else was probably disappointed? Jay Uso. It's because
Oh.
yep,
Oh,
this is how we got it. This
Oh,
is how we got to finish it
gotta
off.
Ring the bell
Brian Lynch wants to ring the bell again.
for the main event.
Ah, look at that guy,
That used to be you, right?
Man,
Jimmy
Wow.
Uso.
you can't convince me that Heyman didn't know this was going to happen, and that's
Look,
all I'm going to say.
I
about
didn't
that.
think he had anything to do with this until I saw
Right.
this picture, and I'm looking at Heyman's face as if like, that's right, Jimmy, do the bidding of the master, like some Star Wars type evil stuff. I'm like, bro, like I didn't pay that any mind, so I said, wait a minute, why was Heyman looking like?
You know,
Roman
what's
looked
crazy to
shocked.
me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What's crazy to me is I looked at this moment and then I remember watching the SmackDown. I watched SmackDown when I got home, and I watched everything up to the matches, and then I was like, I remember when Roman was like, you want to go ahead and be main event, Jay. You want to be the tribal chief. There can only be one. And then you see Jimmy's facial expressions change. Jay looks like he's confused. Like, listen, I'm not listening to you. You're trying to get into my head. It's my brother. Jimmy, on the other hand, looks like, hold on. He wouldn't do that to me. That's my twin flame. That's literally my twin flame. He wouldn't do that to me. Or would he if he had the chance? That's why I was just like, all right, Solo is obviously going to come out here because it's Solo. He's going to do what he's supposed to do. But the fact that it ended up being him at the end of the day, he ended up still being influenced by Roman and his manipulation. That's what disappointed me about the whole thing the most. Because Brian will tell you, I like crunched behind somebody's chair. I was so gutted to see him take off that hood. I could not. I was like, no, like really.
Yo, I had the best.
Do it,
But we at this point we was like right before, because they had moved us. We was actually standing like for the main event. They brought us down, and we were standing in front of the table. And then remember they kept saying, "Don't touch the table, don't touch the table." So we was like,
don't step on the carpet. Damn.
right. So we was like, all right, it's probably gimmick. Then they moved us over on the other side, which was pretty much like eye level from the ring.
Mhm.
And as soon as it happens, like as soon as like the pullout, I said, "That's his brother. That's his brother." As soon as the reveal between her and PR, they just lost it, and I'm sitting there like, "Uh oh."
Or you see me like if you ever seen what was that? It's an episode of The Office where
There we go. Now we cooking.
Yeah.
I already know
what's
this
his
stuff.
name
Wait, I
gets
want.
blamed for something and he just gets down to his desk. The half bald black guy gets blamed for something. He just sinks down to his chest and his eyes are peeking from behind.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was me.
Stand
When my eyes were peeking from behind somebody. I was just like, and I'm looking at a shout out to Corey Grander, the WWE 2K champion for
Yeah,
2K
Cornell
games.
was.
Cornell looked at me and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." I was like, "It's his brother," and he was like, "He's gonna be okay." And I'm
Yo,
like, "No, it's not."
then Cornell had
And
the
I
sigh of
was like,
relief when Roman
Yes.
hit that spear.
And I
We
told
both was like,
Patricia-
huh?
and I'm texting Krista. I'm like, "Remember when I said I was mad at Nikki for turning on Brie
Yeah.
at SummerSlam? I take it back. My anger has shifted." Like I was like, guys, I said Jay left. He kicked Roman for his brother. Like he left for you. Like this whole thing was because of you. And you do this. I was like,
As soon as I saw the person in black, I knew who it was. I was like,
Mhm.
no, because who else was it really going to be? And I was just
Exactly.
like, man. And as Stephanie Hardy from the Hardy Wrestling Podcast calls it, as the bloodline turns,
Mhm.
everything has this very stereotypical soap opera twist to it. And I had a feeling. I was like, man, we haven't seen Jim in a while. And
Right.
like you said, it was obvious Solo was going to make his way to the ring. But it's like Solo's looking at Roman sideways because he got speared. He's like, man, you didn't hit me one too many times. And
Yo.
then all of a sudden,
yeah. He said he looked at him like
He
he was
looked
like,
at him
"Listen, I'm
like,
tired of your shit because I'm on your side and you doing this to me."
and Roman's looking at him like, yo, don't start tripping on me. And he's looking at him like, nah, bro, you didn't see. This is I've never seen so much family manipulation going on. Like this is a pure
Mhm.
blown, full blown soap opera.
It
It's
is.
because to
Straight
what
up.
you said, Seindole, is that as Roman was kind of saying what he was saying to Jay, you could tell it was getting to Jimmy, right? And then now all of a sudden you got to remember the stuff that both Jimmy and Jay said to Solo about Roman, and now he's looking at Roman's side. Was like, man, look, I'm on your side, and I'm taking up for you, but you didn't hit me one too many times. What's going on with you? Like, and then even his kind of being off his hinges, being in the ring, he's telling Paul Heyman, get out the ring. He's like, Solo, relax, listen to me. And then Solo keeps getting beat up because he's not listening. I'm like, man, look, y'all got a whole lot of manipulation going on with this. I know why he fought 2 Samoan Wrestling Dynasty jump off. Y'all got to figure this out, man. Y'all got to figure this out because y'all throw me for a loop and y'all keep on pulling us in and watch this every goddamn week, and it's working. I feel like I'm supposed to be ahead of the game as a wrestling fan. I've been doing this for a while, and I keep getting got.
Yeah.
But you know what?
How do
This
you
is
think this
literally a
going though?
story playing out where when they say it's too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
Oh,
Literally too many chiefs.
Ooh.
Too many chiefs, and then there's Indians now that are trying to be chiefs, and then you got that one Indian that's Solo that's like, listen, y'all piss me off. I'm about to go chief on all y'all asses. You keep sparing me. You turned your back on me. You forcing me to kick your ass. I'm about to chief on all of you because you're all pissing me off.
that's the face he
But
keeps making.
That's you're making.
That's what I'm talking about. She said my point exactly. This story is too overbooked. It is too much. And Brian, you sit down and I want you to listen to this because you can acknowledge
Bottom
all
of the
you want.
third.
Let's
Oh,
let's
God.
put the facts out. All right, it's
Here we go.
overbooked to the point. Can we please have Roman win a match without interference? Can we?
No,
have
he hasn't won one in
dominant
3
heel?
years.
Can we
Right.
have that
Supposed
dominant
to.
heel that we were working towards? And when you think it's finally, he can't win, it's finally somebody helps him win because it's so overbooked to the point. I mean, think about this? I just went through a table, was in a local medical facility, and my brother's out there fighting for me, even though he wants to be the tribal chief. But I'm gonna come back and kick him and spite the person that just put me through the table. Why are we overbooking it, overdoing it? Now here's the thing: we want to get to WrestleMania with the Usos, but did that have to happen at SummerSlam? Why not Payback?
They
And
said that's their dream match.
what sense does it make right now that I just went through a table, been out of action for 3 weeks? I'm gonna come back and stop my brother from winning or being the tribal chief off of some. He didn't care about me, but he's fighting for me because 3 years ago, when I tried to help my brother and I was in a chokehold, he quit for me.
Think
When
about
I'm
this,
trying to
though.
tell him, right?
Here's the thing, and I made this reference earlier when sometimes one twin knows what's better for the other twin. I don't think it's so much as Roman as Jimmy has aligned himself with Roman. Jimmy don't think Jay can handle the pressure of being the tribal chief. See,
That's
it
my
wasn't
point.
just the
It's too
but listen,
overbooked. That's my
no,
point.
it's not.
It's too overbooked.
No,
It's
I
That's getting good now.
So no,
But
I
see,
get
it's-
what Brandon's trying to say.
But listen, though, hold on.
Aspect of the stories being told 3 different ways from Saturday, and now y'all expect me to fall in line with this when last week it was, he's too hurt, so now he's really not going to interfere. And then now we're fast forward to like the biggest match of your brother's night. You got time to hop up out your bed and make sure shit don't happen. I get that, but
And whether the
that's
twin no
what
better
makes
than the
it
other twin,
interesting.
it's too
Roman-
overbooked.
But
Who
Roman
wants to
has
think
ne-
about that layer?
But that's the gift of Roman. Roman's not supposed to be the only man out. He always has a plan B. Remember, the perfect heel never has it done on their own, which
Ric
is
Flair.
why I always said, which is why I said about Brock Lesnar. If it's one thing about Brock Lesnar whooped ass, but Heyman was doing all the talking for him. Now
True.
you have Roman could whoop ass, but if he looked like he couldn't whoop ass, he had Jimmy, he had Jay, he had Solo.
Gang.
But
That's a
what I'm
heel.
saying. But that's true. I mean, it's so many different ways. That's the beauty of it. Because I understand too.
I'm actually going to say I'm about to go into the bloodline coma because it's
No,
so
you're not.
overbooked.
But guess what?
I am.
We
So
don't have an explanation yet, Brandon. We gotta wait till
Fox.
SmackDown.
But just
That's
like I'm
right.
about to
We gotta
go
wait till
into a
Friday.
Judgment Day coma because their
No.
gimmick is now dissension. That's their whole
Oh.
gimmick, dissension.
Yep.
Down the bloodline is let me tell 746 more stories right now because next week it's going to be Roman's wearing a red T-shirt and I want to wear a red T-shirt. So I'm a super kick. Paul Heyman for wearing a red tie because the announcer was wearing a red dress and we're the ones. It's going to be like, come on now.
But Brandon, but you know why it has to be this way. They gotta drag this out for as long as they can. So
But
they
I'm
gotta
okay
add all
with
these
them getting to
wrinkles.
WrestleMania for the
Well,
twins.
you also
This
have
might be
to
the first
remember that.
brothers I want to see fight because Jay has now become. I said it a couple weeks back. They starting to distinguish both of them. That you can tell who's Jimmy and who's Jay without a shadow of a
Right.
doubt.
Facts.
He came out.
Yeah.
He got the tattoo of the palm tree on his side. He shed some weight because he's much smaller than Jimmy. And now with the white pants with that palm tree on, that's going to be Jay's symbol. I would not be surprised if Friday night Jay keeps that music because he's doing this now, right?
Mhm.
And Jimmy has a different set of music.
That would
But
make
that
sense.
remember that's normally the gateway because that's how they separated Brie from Nikki because Brie had that
Yeah.
whole Brie mode and
Yeah.
people were
Yep.
up for her and people were down for her and then Nikki goes and does what she does
Fearless
and
Nikki.
they go she keeps the you can look but you can't like it got to the point where they were divided. But
Yeah.
granted, like when it came for her sister to get that Divas belt from AJ, Brie was like, "Oh, you're getting this belt. Like
One way or
I'ma
the
kiss
other.
this
I'm gonna
bitch.
make sure you get this belt.
It's gonna like you kiss death around here. You gonna get this belt." But like they're gonna have to do that because one, Roman is not scheduled for any appearances at all for the next few months. They
That's
don't know
not
when
funny.
he's gonna show up. They don't know when they're gonna advertise him. They don't know.
He's on that
So
Brock
they're
Lesnar schedule.
I thought he was
yeah, he's doing
advertised
a
for
Brock
Friday.
Lesnar thing.
Yeah,
He's
I thought he was
advertised for
doing
Friday, but after that, nothing else.
Yeah,
Like he's
yeah.
not
Okay.
advertised for
Got
payback.
But they'll add. Sometimes they'll just add dates on. You know, if he feel
Right.
like it. You know, but the
Right.
thing is, I mean, look
They're
what
gonna
Brett
have
and
to hold
Owen.
the storyline though.
Yeah, look what
Mhm.
Brett and Owen know. Like because just because they had this issue, it doesn't mean it has to like they can have a fake recovery. Like he can say, look, he don't because there's also the point he don't want him to become like Roman.
Yeah.
If Jay's
That's-
the tribal chief, he don't want Jimmy don't want him. So what better way? Like I said, he knows better for him. He don't think
So
maybe he
Brian,
don't
you
think he
mean
can
to
handle
tell
pressure.
me
He's
if
the
I put
older
Dwayne in
brother.
the hospital, if I put Dwayne in the hospital today, Dwayne gonna come back out of the hospital and super kick you and not me?
We
It
don't know
depends.
we don't know the other
Okay, no,
wrinkles.
that I can get what Brandon's saying
I
because
see what he's saying, but
I see what
but
he's
yeah,
saying.
That's too overbooked for me. Like
We need a proper explanation though
We
first.
won't get the explanation of why till Friday, but I'm pretty sure the explanation is Jimmy does not want his brother to be the tribal chief and treat him the same way that Roman's been treating them for years. That's the only explanation I can think of. Either that or Jimmy also feels like, listen, I'm the one who actually turned on Roman. I'm taking the beating, and
He
you
feels
want
like
to sit up here and take up tribal chief? Like, how is that fair? I need a fair
Mhm.
shot.
and he's
That's the
technically
only
older.
thing I think
He's
of.
Yeah, I was about to say he's the top.
Exactly.
If you think
He's-
about the
he's
if you
trying to
think about the
say.
storyline, he always said that he was the top dog. He was always
Yeah.
the top twin. So maybe that could be it. Look, I don't
That's
want
what
you.
I'm thinking.
You know, yeah.
Jimmy's older. He's 6 minutes older than Jay, but in according to Samoan culture, that technically makes him the older brother, even though they're both
Yeah, so
twins.
you think because like Roman put you through what he put you through first, and then you had to do all the convincing for you to come in, that you automatically get Reign to be in tribal chief? That's not how it works. In Jimmy mind, that's probably not how it works.
But let me ask you
So
this. I got a question for you. If you think about this match, they danced around the stipulations so much and didn't lean into tribal combat. Because remember, at one point it was saying no outside interference, but then it was like they kind of shut up about it. If it was so much outside interference to still tell that story, why not have Jimmy interfere, attack Roman, cause Jay the match and say, I'm doing this for you because you don't need this.
You just cannot be a book. You just cannot be a booker.
Because think about
Because
it.
that's normal. That's
would
normal
you be as
wrestling.
fascinated in that ending as you are now? Like, be honest. Like, if it had went down, if Roman had finally gotten the taste of his own medicine, would you think you or any other fan would have been invested? And
if we would have do that tribal combat match, nobody else interfered.
I
As soon
call
as somebody
BS. I'm
interfered-
sorry. There's no way.
If somebody
Like,
interfered-
there's a
because
lot
they
more
would have been
people
believable.
Friday.
Because think about it.
There's still
But
room
I
for the
guarantee
elders to
you,
talk about it too.
the elders
Here's
have
the
to talk about
reason.
it. A and B. Watch Friday Night SmackDown be one of the top rated Friday
Yep.
Night
Yes, it will
SmackDowns
be.
I agree
Watch.
with
to
you on
It
that.
definitely is
history
going to be.
because
But
they
I'm saying,
want
off of
to
the
trap
heels,
you.
off of the
That's
heels
exactly what
of
it's a
Jay,
trap.
Pitt, and
It's a
Roman,
trap.
right? Remember, off of the heels of Jay, Pitt, and Roman, they said it's tribal combat. The elders said it. I would have built on that nobody could interfere. So when Jimmy did interfere, now that's the decision between Jimmy and Jay.
Right.
Mhm.
Because Jimmy and Jay are both trying to be their own people. I think the whole scale of this, I don't even think Roman's involved in this anymore. I think it's a
I don't think
scale
he is
of
either.
two
He's not. He's
people
about to
that
disappear
want
for a
to
while.
be their own
Yeah.
people, but somebody wants a chance to be ahead of somebody. That's what this is all coming down to, in my opinion.
Okay,
Like
so if
it's
you
not,
think
it's
Roman,
way
I
outside
okay.
of like Roman could be the tribal chief or whatever he wants to be the tribal head chief of. If the only way I could see Roman trying to get involved and be like, listen, both of you can't be sitting out here in no man's land with no tribal chief. I gotta run you both. But then we're right back to square one. Both of them want out, but somebody has to be ahead of somebody. That's what you're gonna see them arguing for.
I
Okay.
think so too. I agree. I think that. I think
Now, when
that
you
makes
said
more
that,
sense.
that actually changed my mind. Then.
Yeah. See, look at you.
Because-
You listen, ladies and gentlemen. Seindole has talked Brandon off the ledge. Usually, that's Brother Hughes' job.
Because I get your frustration. I get
Right.
that it's too much. Like we're going off what, like 2 years of this storyline?
3.
3 years.
Yeah.
Everybody's tired, but at the same time, like you
No.
can't just end it with Jimmy turns on Jay, they fight, and Roman's just Roman laughing at it all.
Yeah, no.
No.
It's got to
Right.
be some
You still
sort
got
of
to deal with Solo. You still got to see that, like
The wise
Heyman
man.
gave us
Heyman.
riddles. 'Cause
Heyman can't control nobody at this
Heyman
point.
can't control nobody, and it's gonna be
Yeah.
to a point where he can't control the tribal chief. You
Mhm.
still got to think about the fact that like Roman without Jimmy or Jay may not be as unstoppable as he was with them around. So now who's going to take
That's a
titles
wrinkle.
off of him? You can't just limbo the story and just take the title off of somebody and think it's not gonna. You created a build. You created a whole different you created your own universe with this. You can't just fall it off the face of the planet. You got to end it right. This is one of the right ways to end it. You end with Jimmy and Jay trying to see who's better than who, because it's right. They've always been by each other. Like it's meant for brothers to fight. We've had it with Matt and Jeff. I keep bringing up my girls, the Bellas. We had it with the Bellas. They eventually all get along after. They need this. They need
So
to
you're saying this was inevitable?
This is inevitable.
Okay.
Because like between the back and forth for them both, even figuring out whether or not they wanted to follow their cousin's shadows, and then one day they realized that like now Roman's letting it get to their head. Fine, but now you two are gonna let it get to your head because one can't be better than the other. Can't.
Oof.
Sorry.
Well, god dang. Somebody
It's
hand
why
her a
Cain
t-shirt.
Abel. It's why Cain and Abel are Cain and Abel.
The numbers
I thought,
speak
I
loud.
thought you were gonna say that's exactly why Cain Undertaker.
Right?
Yeah, and Cain and Undertaker. Listen, somebody
Yeah,
buried one of them on fire, and then eventually they buried Paul Bearer. That whole thing. So just think of it that way. It has to end properly, and this is a gateway, I think, into this storyline, closing one chapter, and then Roman could be another chapter.
You, my friend, are really, really, really good at this. Good gosh, you kept up with the brothers. Unbelievable. I'm thoroughly impressed with the kid. Brandon, can we give her one more round of applause? I don't mean to just keep getting a round of applause, but that was amazing. It's because
I'm ranting because I'm an avid reader. If a book is too boring, I put it down. Brian knows. Brandon, I think you get the hints of it now. If you're a reader, you get it. Like if a book has no plot twist or a middle, it's a boring book. This is one of the
first of all, he's a comic book guy. He's
exactly.
If
a comic book doesn't make sense in the middle, you're not reading the rest of the comic book graphic, are you? So this is one of these. This is a storyline that the people have been begging for, because how many storylines start at Royal Rumble, end at WrestleMania, start at SummerSlam, end at Royal Rumble? This is something that's been going on for 3 years. I would gut me if it did not end properly, because all the good work goes to waste. You milk the cow and you spill the milk. I would hate that. That's
why
they
looking to put over somebody in a big way. So
right.
when he loses this title, they're gonna put him over in a big way.
Big way.
But you
gotta tie the ends first.
It's got Dragon Ball Z vibes. Are you familiar? Are you a Dragon Ball Z person?
Oh yes.
Seindole?
Oh,
Okay,
absolutely.
so you're familiar. You know, coming up, you watch it on Toonami coming up.
Yes.
Okay, so
It
so
was
you're from
Tsunami, and then it was like like 1 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, whatever the
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
late version of it.
the late
It was
version. Yeah.
so you're familiar with, like, you know, Dragon Ball Z used to have these big sagas, and I think one of the biggest ones was like the Frieza saga, and we were
Yeah.
frustrated because that was the last saga that we got before they started showing the new episodes of the Android stuff like that. So they would always repeat everything all the way up to that point. And one of the things about the Frieza saga is, you know, look at this. Go figure. We got a Dragon Ball Z reference on the Wrestling Wrealm show. Is there like in between the start and finish of that saga, there was these in between small stories,
Right.
and they were, and we jokingly as fans call them the filler stories, in betweens, where it's like you got a guy like Piccolo trying to prepare to face off of Frieza, but then Piccolo's got to fight off um with Nails, and then him and Nails got to merge. So you get 3 or 4 episodes of this side story that has to be resolved before you can get to the big boss. And I feel like that's the same type of storytelling that we have with this. Yes, we know
Yeah.
Roman's the end game. Like I think even Cody's still involved in all this in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But it's like we're not on that chapter yet. We're not on that wrinkle. And from what I heard you both say, I just sat back and I listened to you, and this is how I know how good you are, seeing though. Like, I just, once again, I give you your flowers, is because this is what they usually do every week when I'm fine, and then I'm like, okay, cool, I know what I'm going to happen, and then all of a sudden they got to make me switch what I'm thinking now. I'm like, shoot, and you both were like, 1 minute I was on Brandon's side, I'm like, well, Brandon's making a point, and then you went back and you and Brandon, I'm like, wait a minute, you guys are making a point too, and then I'm like, okay, cool. So I feel like I'm in the middle now. So thank you for that. But goodness gracious, man, I didn't think we was going to get that in depth, but that was amazing. That was
the show in itself.
Yeah.
it was great, wasn't it? But listen,
was.
I think as the bloodline turns, as Stephanie Hardy says on her podcast, there's so much more to be explored with this. And I think once again, this is, you heard what Paul Heyman said at the presser. It's bottom of the third. I'm like, what are you talking about? Not even a 7-inning stretch. Just said,
Nope. When the minute he said that too, and we were in the room where it happens, the minute he said that, I'm like, this man
what
knows
yeah
that there's more to be touched here, and he's not telling us, which is genius on his end.
And he said it so smugly.
He also knows that if he gives you guys, if he gives it to us too early, we're not going to appreciate it. And I think that's the mastermind behind Paul. That's why I feel like Paul Heyman, he'll go down as one of the best managers, if not storytellers, in our modern era, because like he really seen it all. Like he really seen it all. This man was able to milk the Undertaker losing in one fall swoop. Like he milked it to the point where Brock Lesnar lost, and he still milked it. So for him to say we're in the bottom of the third, he milking this, and he's like, oh, you guys think you're gonna drink this milk now? No, we can drink it later. But you can still watch me milk this cow. Bottom of the third. And when he said that, I was like, yo, he still knows more than meets the eye. Like he saw a whole new chapter open right in front of him, and he won't even give us the preview to the book, which is genius.
Like, did they say over 30 million? 30 million views on that super
on that super kick. Yep,
bro, just give me the back of the book. Like, he's not.
We don't even want to give you that.
He's not getting. He said the bottom of the third. The bottom of the third.
You know when they, so the theory behind movies, and I learned this from my uncle, is if a trailer is more than 1 minute and 45 seconds long, the movie is horrible. So when I watched Oppenheimer's first trailer was only 1 minute and 39 seconds. And if you go and watch Oppenheimer, you will understand that movie is cripplingly not anything that's in that trailer, because the elements behind that movie, it would shock you on how that's how Oppenheimer thought. And then I look at Barbie, and Barbie was only like 1 minute and 29 seconds, and everybody freaking loves Barbie. So now when I look at a movie trailer and I notice that the movie trailer is like 2 minutes long, I know the movie sucks. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna just wait for it to come on Netflix. But like, that's what I'm looking at. I know for a fact I have not seen this kick flood around social media the way that other clips have flooded around social media. People have to go look for it. So that's how I know people are invested in this storyline. I'm like, yeah, if it has to end in the smoothest, slowest way possible, then let's do that. Let's not cut it off the way we cut off everything else in storyline wise. Like, let's not do that here.
Talk about it.
Man, listen, and on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's a wrap. I think this is where we can put a pin in that conversation as far as SummerSlam. Seindole, you survived hanging with the boys. Like we're
glad.
sometimes we're not as civilized as you saw, and we didn't offend you. So this is I'm happy that you were able to join us today. But we want everybody to follow us on all social media platforms at Wrestling Wrealm. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube at Wrestling Wrealm. We'd be remiss and rude if we didn't ask you or give you the opportunity to kind of plug your social media, what you got coming up next. You know, what do you have on your plate or your agenda coming up that the people need to know about?
Right now I'm going to take this quote unquote nap and wake up and finish up the last of my what I did in July vlog for my YouTube channel, which if
I'm
you
looking
look
forward
up,
to it.
if you look up reload.relive, that's on my YouTube channel. That's most of my streaming, most of my platforms is that besides X, which is Reload via Film. I'm doing a follow me through July, but then I'm going to surprise Lemonade drop the SummerSlam vlog right after. I did a lot in July. I went on a boat randomly. I went to support Sir Wilkins of the Jobber Tears podcast. Shout out to him.
My guy.
He wrestled again, so that's going to be featured on the vlog. And then I'm already working on what I did in August because I celebrated a birthday with a certain somebody above me, and we had a great time. There's some clips of that in there. So it's just going to be all good vibes all the time. You know where to find me. I'm your honorary wrestling girl. If I'm not doing YouTube, every Wednesday I am on the TWG fan club with Cream PR and the 3 best friends that anybody can have. You can always comment, drop a like, subscribe to all of that. My website is up in all my LinkedIn's. Dude, Jesus Christ, I'm mouth dry. Sorry. All my
Don't
my
worry
website
about it.
is now my
You need
website
some
is
water.
now seindoleb.komi.com. That's seindoleb.komi.io, and that's the link of everything, including this episode of Wrestling Realm, which I've had. This is fun. Like,
Yes,
I wanna do this
successful.
more often. Like, this was so much fun, and normally people get annoyed with me ranting, but you guys just seem to like absorb it all. Love it.
Have you heard Brother Brandon and his diatribes, brother? This is.
Am I still competing with Brother Brandon? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, but it's just like it's good to be able to see like an out because usually it's us.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
usually,
turning the camera back just because you said that.
usually, see, look at that. Look, he puts it better. Usually, we're the only ones that can deal with each other. Like nobody else has the patience to deal with us in this space. You know what I mean? So like to have someone like yourself come in and join us and just fit completely in. It's like, oh, this is fun because we got somebody different. We can kind of bounce these ideas off. So I think you did an excellent job, and I'm glad you had fun. You don't have to keep showing the belt. I'm glad.
Proud of me? I was on my good behavior today. I was
Brother
nice. I was
Hugh,
good. I was
Brother
chilling.
Hugh Brother Hugh behaved himself. I'm
Usually
glad
I'm wilding out.
That
Brother Hugh be on some other stuff sometimes. I don't know
I
if you
know.
catch the shows a lot of
Maybe.
times.
He's saving it for Tuesday.
maybe
He's saving
I'm
it for
just thinking
Tuesday.
that
That's all I'm
Brian
gonna say.
told you guys to like behave before I got here, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
He
Maybe.
didn't.
Don't nobody
He
listen to
didn't.
Brian.
Okay.
No, see, that's what he does. He goes at Brian, and then I
This
say
guy.
something to Brandon, and then Brandon trolls me. So, but I'm glad you had fun. It was a party indeed, and we appreciate you joining us for this party. We will definitely do this again because goodness gracious, you bring so much insight. I think we just fellas, we deserve to give ourselves a round of applause because we've been hitting it out the park with all these guests. I think we've had. There you go. Or as Tommaso Ciampa would do, the little thing he does. Pat us on the back. We have had all amazing guests. Shout out to Brother Hugh, and then we're going to continue on this streak for our next Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast party. But like I said, we want to thank you again, Seindole, for joining us today. We're going to close out. We're not going to hold you any longer. Stay on the line because we're going to do Run After Dark. It's just 2 minutes. We talk off the air. But
okay.
Yeah. So last time we had Janelle on, she signed on. We had to say, no, sign back on. We're not done yet.
He was like, click done. Have a good night.
Yeah, so she came back. She was amazing too. Like, just you queens are killing it out here, man. If
Thank you.
people are not familiar
Big
with
time.
y'all, you need to get familiar with these ladies immediately. But ladies and gentlemen, join us next week. Maybe we'll be back to our regular scheduled program. Maybe we won't. But until then, we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace out.
Ryan Waters.